cold. Put my hoodie up. I'm sitting outside. Hey cat. What do you want? Oh, right. Let's just play about with this for a minute. Bear with. Right, I know what I can do while there's nobody here. I can go and check my swimming pool. Oh dear, bloody freezing. Well, about 14 degrees, it feels like -4. It does when you live in an APA, trust me. You get acclimatised to the weather here, and yeah, it gets quite horrible when it's not 30 degrees. I've got used to it. So, yesterday or the day before, can't remember, days blending one into another, somebody asked me to go and look at some properties for sale, not specifically, but just sort of generally asked if I knew of any developments. And so I went to a development that's just on the outside of the town, which I've watched being built over the last few months, and assumed it was still a building site, to be honest, and got there to find that it was nearly complete. It's a development of 6 apartment blocks with about 300 properties in each block, so 1,800 properties. And going in to see the developer to see, you know, what properties were available, and out of 1,800 there were 3. So they're all sold. Some of the ones that were sold are for sale. Obviously they've been bought by investors. So people have got in early, bought them cheap, and then are just marking them up for a bit of a profit. But it was a shock to see how quickly the development had been finished. There's a lot of construction here in Napa, lots of apartments being built all over the place. So there's plenty of choice, but you've got to be quick because they're selling really quick. But it was nice. It meant that I could speak to the developer a little bit. And they were very kind and showed us the 3 properties that they had for sale. One was a studio flat, so 2 rooms. One room is your lounge and your kitchen. You've got a separate bathroom, and then your other room is your bedroom. And then the other 2 properties we saw were both 1-bedroom flats, 1-bedroom apartments. One was finished, what they call finished here. So doors, floors, ceilings, lights, that kind of thing, but no kitchen. Very, very normal in Russia. Very normal for people to actually take a kitchen out of a property that they're selling and take it with them to their new property. That's really normal. It's not something we're used to in the UK at all. That's classed as fixtures and fittings, but not here in Russia. That's something completely separate. Bathrooms, not so much, although people will remove bathrooms, but it's not that common. Hi Furby. So yeah, it's a little bit different. You have to have a different mindset. So one was finished, what they call finished, as I say, and the other one is what they call in the grey. I've posted both of these videos. They're only short videos, 1.5, 2 minutes long. I've put them on my Telegram group. They're not YouTube videos, and I haven't done them for YouTube specifically, mainly because I don't edit lots and lots of videos together to make one video. I just hit the on button and I hit the off button. So it's not really a YouTube video for me, and I don't want to go down a route of editing lots and lots of snippets of stuff together. Everybody does that. It's just not my thing. So if you want to see them, have a look on my Telegram channel. They're just, a quick guided tour of what you'll see, or what you can expect if you're looking to buy an apartment, whether it's finished or unfinished. Price-wise, they're on, like I say, they're on the edge of a napper. So if this is a napper, crudely, I know, they're sort of here, just on the outskirts with the sea up this end. Next to the main road, it's a good location, easy access. Good shops around. There's a large supermarket, literally 100 yards away. But all of the blocks have all got shops in the bottom of them, retail centres, which are filling up at the moment. There's still a lot that are empty, but a lot that are full as well. And they range from food shops to Ozone or Ozon. Russians know all about Ozon. It's a cross between eBay and Amazon, I suppose, in a store, with outlets, although you can't actually go there and purchase anything. You purchase everything online, it gets delivered to Ozon. Really popular store, and I will do a video about Ozon specifically. But yeah, Ozon, pharmacies, nail bars, get your nails done, ladies, food, all sorts of things, opticians, all sorts of things in the bottom of these blocks. But it is on the main road, so it's, it's a 25-minute walk into town if you wanted to walk it, or jump on a bus. Public transport out here is amazing if you're comparing it to the UK. It's really good. Or jump in a cab. They cost pennies out here. But a good location, just a short walk to KFC, and furniture shops and everything else. So nice area. And the block that I looked at was the 6th block, which I think is the best block. It's the quietest, it's furthest away from the main road. You can't hear anything, it's in a concealed or a sealed block. And the way this development is done, there is no vehicle access to the actual flats themselves. All the parking is around the outside, and they don't allow anybody to drive into the courtyards, because all of the courtyards have got little play areas for kids, etc., and they don't want vehicles driving around where the kids are, which is a good idea, I think. One of the parts of the development was earmarked to be a multi-storey car park, but that now is being turned into a 4-storey shopping centre. So it's going to be, a bit of a buzz in this place. Over the next few years, it's really going to grow and expand, and the apartments that we've looked at overlook some current waste ground, but I understand that is earmarked to be a big park, another park, and there's lots here. So really nice, good location, good price, I would say, because the more in town you go, the higher the price, and certainly if you get up to the seafront, really expensive. Cost-wise, 1-bedroom apartment in this development, unfinished, in UK pounds, is around, at today's current rate, about £60,000 unfinished. You're going to spend I would say £5 finishing it. No, more than that. What am I talking about? 10 grand probably finishing it, to a decent level, and that will include fitting a kitchen, fitting a bathroom, obviously flooring, ceilings, walls all plastered and decorated, doors, etc., etc. In the grey out here, an unfinished apartment in the grey is literally just blocks, it's just a concrete wall, and apertures where doors are. No floors, the pipes are on the floor, you've got a concrete over them. But that's completely normal, like I say, very, very normal. So if you want to know about that sort of thing, if that's sort of confusing to you a bit and you're not used to that, which coming from the UK you definitely won't be, and it will catch you out. It caught me out a lot, especially when you're getting quoted with prices. You just think, oh, well, that'll include a kitchen. Nah. So if you want to know about that, contact me on Telegram group, ask a question here. Yeah, so we had a brief look around these 2 apartments. Like I say, I've posted them on the Telegram group. Price-wise, the unfinished one, as I said, was about £60,000 UK, and the finished one was about £68,000, I think, UK, roughly, give or take. The exchange rate's always changing, so it's difficult to say. But like I say, nice location, right on the main road. So let me just catch up with chat before I get buried in it. Ban you soon. Yeah. Very, 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 almost, very nearly, almost. We've been using it. So, yeah, we're kind of done, but I've got one more video to do of the Banya. But I'm just waiting. I keep sort of thinking, I might as well do a video. It's nearly done. But I just think, let's wait for it to be finished, and then I can just do one final video of the sauna build, and then everybody can see it finished. So from the last time to now, and that's it, done. Hi, good Russian men from sunny Moscow. Okay, what about English men, Alexei? Winter is back. Yeah, it is for me. Like I say, I've got acclimatised to it. You know, in the UK, we consider this springtime or autumn, this temperature. But here, since I've been here, I've got used to plus 30 degrees, and now, I mean, you know, I was in the pool last year at 21, 22 degrees. As soon as it got to below 25 degrees, we didn't use it this year. And it's got its cover on. It's just too cold. We got used to it. Ozone, the best seller. Yeah, everybody uses ozone over here, or ozone. Like I say, I will do a video on it because it's great, I've got to say. It really is. Compared to anything we have in the UK, it's really, really good. Alex, hi Chris. I'm working the horror, so just saying hi. No problem, Alex. Yeah, work. Ugh, don't use that word around me. Temperature outside, about 14 degrees, Alexi. I think. It just feels like -4. It's bloody freezing. I might put a hat on in a minute. Cold for the guy who loves his summer. Yeah, I just wasn't like this, you know, in the UK. When it got hot in the UK, I say hot. But you know what I mean, late 20s, early 30s, I'd be moaning, you know, oh, it's too hot, it's too hot. I came here, the first time I came here, October 21, it was about 22, 23 degrees, which it was again this year. And I was walking around in shorts and a t-shirt thinking it was hot. Everybody else is in coats, and I'm thinking, lunatics. Now I'm in coats. I've got used to it. So I've acclimatised, and now the thought of going back to England and seeing sort of 4 and 5 degrees and rain and all. But we've got the heating on already in the house, which is lovely. We've got underfloor heating. And the sauna, you know, couldn't wait to use that. And we haven't used it for 2 nights now. We've used it, I think, 3 times, because it's only been finished, you know, very, very recently. But the shower room itself isn't finished, and the walk to the sauna isn't finished. So that's what I'm waiting for. But we've used the sauna. It's, oh my God, how you could be without one. It's one of those things, it's a bit like having heated seats in your car or heated steering wheel or something like that. You just consider it, if you haven't had it, as a waste of time and money. You just wouldn't bother. And certainly in the UK, it's not a thing. But out here in Russia, definitely. Banya, sauna, it's just it's the norm, you know. It's not a case of, you know, very few people have one. It's a case more of very few people don't have one. And even if you don't have one, there are areas you can go to. There are that you can go to the Banya, go to the sauna, even if you don't have one yourself. So it's a big thing, and I think there's an opportunity there in England for that to grow, for people to actually get sauna pods and Banya pods and plonk them in the back garden, because again, that's quite popular here as well. But that's a whole other video. But it's cold. No shirtless stream split. Hell no, not unless I'm indoors. Privyat, and I'm music. Privyat, music. Sorry, I'm terrible at reading Russian or speaking it or understanding it. Hi Chris. Hi Andrea. Made it across. No Russie, yeah. There you go, Tatiana, thank you. Morning chat, yeah. What about your terrace? Is it done? Choot choot. My Linky. Little bit. They're back this afternoon. to do some more finishing edges, but the actual terrace itself is done. It's just the finishing stages now, just going around and finishing all the bits. So nearly done. And again, it'll be one last video probably of the terrace. Although I think I did a video where I showed, oh, I might not have posted it. No, probably didn't. Trouble is I do videos all the time, and then sometimes I look at them and just, that's rubbish, I'm not going to post it. Others I just think, yeah, that's crap, but I'll still post it. So it's a mixed bag, unfortunately. But yeah, I just thought I'd jump on a live and just see if people want to talk about property prices. Somebody made a comment about, in my chat, about the cost of these apartments seemed expensive. And it's very, very specific to region, district within that region. In Russia, certainly the equivalent in Siberia would cost probably a third of the price. And, you know, even just coming outside of a Napa, like our house, we couldn't afford if it was in a Napa. We just couldn't afford it. It would be significantly more. That's fair to say. But you come out into the village, you know, there's a lovely road from our village down into a Napa, drives through the hills, through the vineyards, so it's a pleasure to drive. It's not a chore at all, it's a nice road. And just that distance coming out from a Napa, it means that instead of buying a one-bedroom apartment in a block on the outskirts of a Napa, if you came to the village, you could buy a two-bedroom house with 600 metres of land for the same price. So, you know, if you're prepared to travel 15, 20 minutes to a Napa, then... And for us, that's much better. It's much quieter out here. It's, you know, we've got all the local shops, we've got all the amenities that we need. And we haven't got the hustle and bustle of tourist season, you know, which Napa is a seaside resort, so come tourist season, it's difficult to navigate around. It will take us an hour to drive into a Napa in tourist season, because, you know, it's a busy place. So for us, it was a much better choice rather than being actually in a Napa itself. But, you know, some people like the city, large town kind of vibe. I'm not a city guy. I like to be near the sea, but I equally don't want to be in the hustle and bustle of it, you know, walking around big cities with hundreds of people everywhere. Not for me. I don't like people. They always let you down. Cynical view. Yeah, good before winter. Yeah, indeed. Definitely, yeah, it's good that the terrace has been finished before winter. What's the plans for winter? Any chance for some Russian film reviews? Oh, that's interesting. I would probably say no, on the basis that I haven't watched any Russian films, and I'm not really a film kind of guy. I'm not a filmy, and I wouldn't understand. I've seen a bit of Russian TV. It's been entertaining. I really like the Russian DIY programs, which is sad, I know, but I just like them. They always start with a house made of wood, and it's a standing joke here. So, oh look, surprise, it's wooden. But then more often than not, they're a dacha, and they're like a log cabin or a wooden construction. So, yeah, probably not. It's an interesting idea, but I'm probably not the person to do it. I don't speak Russian, so... You know, Sam may be the right person for that. It might be a good video for him to do some film reviews or something, I don't know. But I'm probably the wrong person for it. Yeah. Hopper, good morning. How is life in Krasnodar? Right. It's cold. Cold by my usual standards. But lovely. I just love life out here. I really do. Try Soviet cartoons. Yeah, a few people have said that. I've got to get into... So, I've been very lazy with learning language the last few weeks because we've just had so much going on around the house that it's taken a back seat. as has my second alphabet video. First one was very successful, and I'm only going to do 2, and the second one I've got written out, I've got it planned, I just haven't done it because I've been too busy. So I haven't done anything with the language, but a lot of people have said Soviet cartoons are a good way of picking up the language, and that's certainly something that I will get into. But I do want to do, with my second alphabet video, I want to talk about Russian language tutors, because there are a few that watch my channel, and I've been contacted by a couple of language schools as well, so I'm possibly going to look at doing some kind of partnership with no money involved. I don't want to be paid for anything, but some kind of partnership where a language tutor or a language school will be the official tutor of this channel, and subsequent links to etc., and hopefully that'll help people from the UK that want to start learning Russian, and I want to do it with an English speaking Russian teacher, and hopefully everybody can benefit from that. So I haven't gone down that path just yet, and that's probably why I've held off of the languages as well. Well, that's my excuse anyway. I'm good with excuses, trust me. But I've got to get back into the language, but I'm going through a specific visa process at the moment. No, that's not fair. I've started a specific visa process, the new visa under the recent decree. So I'm starting to go down that path as well. So on top of all the building stuff that's going on around the house, and the changes in seasons, and the addition of cats, etc., no, we're still only at 5, but 5's enough. Everything that's going on, I've just been too busy, and it's easy for me to sit here and say I've been too busy, so I haven't done anything with the language. You see the motorcycle in Sam's video? Yeah, I did. If you're talking about the one with the sidecar and you put the crash helmet on, yes. I did a video actually. I can't remember what it was called, but it was down in the town, I think at the local, I think the Americans would call it the DMV. It's where you go to register your vehicle and anything to do with your driving license. And they had a restored motorbike and sidecar outside in yellow and blue. It looked quite cool. The vocabulary is more simple in cartoons. They are kind. Sure, yeah. Good to hear. Yes, I know it's cold in Krasnodar region. Last weekend, both a new coat for a friend who lives in Krasnodar city. She loves a new coat. Awesome. I need a new coat, definitely. I didn't last year because it wasn't acclimatised, and it was like, just felt normal, it's like the UK. Now, I haven't got a coat. Natalia, yeah, I'm a tutor myself. That's why I'd opt for cartoons in your case. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, it like I say, it's been something that's been mentioned a few times. So, yeah. Andrea, yeah, seen a couple. Oh, let us know how it's proceeding with the new visa. I'd be interested to know. I'm literally starting on that process. So you've got to start in the UK. You've got to start with things like police checks, and there's a specific police check. So don't just go and get a DBS check if that's the route you're going down. It's the wrong thing. Lots of people have done that, thinking that it's the same. Oh, it's a background check, so it's a DBS check. What we use in the UK. It's not. That is not the right thing. So if you're looking to start the visa process, do not get a DBS check. You need a specific police check. It's a much more in-depth check. And yeah, contact me if you want the website. I think it's ACRO or ACC, ACRO or ACCO or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. So hence I say contact me, because I can look it up then. But yeah, I'll keep you posted as and when it starts. But we've just got to go through some paperwork to start with. 100%. Yeah, the cartoons are really great and yet thought-provoking. Yeah, again, like I say, I've got to get into that and have a look. No, the 1943 BMW. I probably did, but I don't remember things. That's why for me, it's good for for me to watch films because I won't remember them the next day. I literally take them for what they are. My brain takes them for what they are at the time and then doesn't store them. So I can watch the same film several times, and have done many, many, many times. Got to the end of a film and literally the last 5 minutes and go, oh yeah, I remember this. I do it all the time. So my brain just doesn't store stuff like that. So I probably did see it, but haven't remembered it. Do you listen to any Russian music? I've just started to, Alex. I quite like Polina Gagarina, something like that. I think she was discovered on the Russian equivalent of like one of these talent shows, The Voice or something like that. I think she was a lady that came on, it looks like her, that came on and sang beautifully, and the judges were like, oh, she's miming to a track. So they stopped the music and they said, you know, can you sing a cappella? And she did, and she sounded exactly the same, and everybody just went, oh my God, amazing voice. And I think it's the same lady. And yeah, amazing voice. So I've just started listening to her, and I've got a few on my YouTube channel, a few in my saved list of music. So I've just started listening to some Russian music. Chabarushka, maybe? Chabarushka, yeah. I have a question. I don't know if I heard it correctly. Is the interest rate on a savings account in Russia 20%? Yep. Yes, it is. It varies from bank, you know, obviously, but you can expect to get between 16 and 20% at the moment. That's fact, that's not lies. You know, I get that on my savings in the bank, and it's extremely flexible. There's none of this locking it in for 10 years and this, that and the other. If you're just looking at bank interest rate, you know, just a simple savings account, there are some things to it. You know, I think a minimum amount that you can put in is 100,000 rubles, so about 1,000 UK pounds, slightly less now. But you can put that in for a month, 3 months, a year, whatever time period you want, 3 years, whatever time period you want. And yes, it is around, like I say, around 20%, depending on your circumstances, depending on the account you've got. I've just switched my account to an account that pays 16%, but it pays it out daily. So it calculates the interest daily. So that means that I'm getting a kickback every month from that. And there are other benefits with it as well, which I can't remember. But yeah, that's true. That is true. Which, you know, to somebody from the UK is mind-blowing. 20% on your interest, on your savings. Polina Gargarina, yes. You can also watch Yeralash. Ask your wife about it. Some of them can be easily understood, but even with your level of Russian grammar. Yeah, my level of Russian grammar is 0. Yes, there you go, Polina Gargarina. I'm trying to get the name right. It's Gagarin. It's Gagarina, I think, because I remember it the same as Yuri Gagarin, but it's Gagarina, if that's right. Marco, nice to see you. Hope you're well. So, yes, I know you. You're on your way somewhere the other day and you're a bit concerned, so I hope that's going all right. Guys, if you get a chance, please subscribe to Marco's channel, Italiano in Gran Britannia. He is an Italian gentleman. He's a lovely guy, and he is a gentleman, and he'll probably laugh at me calling that. But a lovely guy, and he live streams from mainly London, the city of London, every day. And he literally grabs his phone and he walks around, he goes on bus rides, he goes on his way to work, on his way home from work, and just shows you real life, the streets of London. Some of it's good, some of it's, you know, it's London and it's very touristy. Some of it's really pretty, and some of it's not so good. You know, you walk around the back streets and you see the rubbish everywhere and all of that. But you see, you know, no warts, you know, warts and all, sorry, no frills. Real London. So please, if you get a chance, subscribe to his channel. And he does do little journeys around. He's recently been back to his hometown in Italy. He goes to Edinburgh. So he does get about, but wherever he goes, he takes his phone with him and he's filming. So have a look at his channel. It's really interesting at times. And like I say, he's live, so you can interact with Marco at the same time. And he's a cracking guy. He's a really nice guy. So, Marco, we're going to meet for a beer at some point, and maybe a pizza, although you're going to tell me off for having pineapple on the pizza. I know, but got to be done. You should try it. Pepperoni, pineapple and sweet corn. I know you like fish on your pizza, Marco, but no, fish should be battered. Much like my cat. Where are you going, cat? What are you doing? Little monster. Was out all night the other night. Thought we'd lost him, thought he'd gone. Just didn't come back. And he's done that, I think, once before, not come back. But he was here on the terrace first thing in the morning. And this time he wasn't here. And I've got to be honest, I was a bit upset because he is my boy. I've raised him since he was 2 weeks old, you know, milk in a syringe. So he is my little baby, and yeah, it was horrible. You know, I thought he'd been either run over or, you know, dogs had got him or something. So that was horrible. And then about 9 o'clock in the morning, he comes running back. So I think he might have been shut in somewhere or trapped somewhere. But yeah, that was horrible. Didn't like that. So there he is. He's back. They're going to raise the rate again today. Wow. Well, I should be looking forward to getting that text message from Sparebank. In fact, close to zero. Close to zero. What's close to zero? Natalia? Natalia? Yes, I think that's right. Yeah. Gargarina, yeah. Still waiting for a result. Thank you for chilling. Okay. All right, well, keep us all posted. You know, I try and watch as many of your lives as I can. But yeah, I think there's probably 3 hours of time difference now, isn't there? Between here and the UK. I'm not sure, because time doesn't change here in Russia. We don't have this hour forward, hour back malarkey. It's just the time's the time. But it changes in the UK, and I can never remember when it changes. So let me know if you're in the UK. Let me know what the time is. Oh, look at Natalia showing off. Pineapple just for me. I know. Any plans for travelling farther from your region, maybe to other cities? No plans. Something I want to do, definitely. I'd like to go to Sam's region, Vladimir. I'd like to go to Kazan. But Sam did a recent video when he was walking around a little town or little village in Vladimir, and he stumbled across this museum, really eclectic museum of all sorts of everything, from sewing machines to bicycles to industrial equipment, you name it. And it just, for me, it looked really interesting. I just would like to go to see that. Might be a long way to go just to see that. I'd like to go into parts of Moscow. There's Russell did a video recently from a hunting shooting shop, which I'm interested in. Not necessarily for the hunting, but for clay pigeon shooting, so I'd like to go and do that. I do want to travel, but our region's so big, there's plenty of opportunity to travel just in our region alone. But yeah, you know, I want to get down to Sochi. I want to go up into the mountains, possibly do a bit of snowboarding or skiing. I've got a friend down in Sochi as well, so yeah, it's another excuse. Yeah, nothing definite, but certainly wants to happen. Marco, are you available? 9 AM there. Oh, okay, so it's still only 2 hours different then. Cool. Okay, thanks for that, Marco. Change the time. This Sunday. Oh, okay. So that'll be back 1 hour, won't it? So it will be 3 hours different then. I'm from India, blimey. Hi, India. 2 hour difference currently, soon to change for the winter time, then it's 3 hour difference, yeah. Can't read Italian. So, Natalia, you crack on talking to Marco, that's cool. I can read bits of Italian, but I've forgotten most of what I learnt. I used to be part of a race team, and we the series that we were racing in was run as an Italian series. It was run by an Italian corporation, and a tyre company and everything, and most of the teams were Italian. So I picked up a bit of Italian, but it's all gone out of my head now, all completely gone. That's the video with the motorcycle and bikes, all by the German automakers. Ah, right, okay, okay. Oh dear, I can't remember. I'll have to watch it again because I want to watch it on the TV. I was only watching it on my phone, Sam's video, and I want to put it up on the TV so I can watch it again. So I will do that and I'll have a look. Are there any autumn fairs near Anapa with all the fruits, veggies, cheeses and so on of local farmers? Every day. I think that's fair to say. There is always a farmer's market somewhere in Anapa or around Anapa. This area, all our food pretty much comes out of the hills that we're surrounded by. It's all grown locally. So, yeah, there's always something. And certainly in Anapa town, there's always a market or something going on. Do you also have travel to Siberia? I haven't. We can, but it's a long way. Italian is lovely. Yeah, it is a beautiful language. You should hear Marco. It's, yeah. But it's Italian. You expect it. A perfect language for singing songs with all of those open vowels. Yes. I was a... Was? No, that's not fair. I still am. Unfortunately, he's passed on, but I love Luciano Pavarotti. So, just one of the, you know, I think one of the greatest voices ever. I really do. I'm not a big opera fan, but I just love his voice. I think it's amazing. But yeah, beautiful language. Hello from No Flip-Flops is Canada. Look at that, the maple leaf. Hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Agree on Luciano, yeah, beautiful voice. What a shame. But, you know, that's life, isn't it? Circle of life, it all ends for us. But yeah, any questions, anything you want to know? The live stream really is about property prices, but it could be about anything. I'm happy to answer any questions. People want to know about life in Russia. You know, whether it's down to prices, whether it's locations. Location is very important if you're thinking of moving to Russia. I'm going to go on a little rant now. It staggers me, and Sam has also noticed this. How many people, shall I be PC here or shall I be Chris? No, I'll be Chris. It staggers me how many people are absolutely delusional. Absolutely delusional when it comes to thinking they're going to move to Russia. I mean, literally no thought process at all. None. Hi, I'm going to move to Russia next month. Can you tell me what I need to know? Sorry? What? Hi, I'm going to move to Russia. Planning on moving to Russia next year. What sort of budget do I need? Hi, I'm going to move to Russia next year. Once I've sold everything, I should have about £30,000. And I'm going to retire. I don't want to work anymore, me and my family, and we're going to buy a house, and we're going to buy £30,000. Sorry, you're going to retire? It really is staggering how ill-prepared, and the wife is... Oh, the guys are here for the what? Oh, for the ceiling. Oh, okay. Oh, for the box. water box. Oh, that'll be interesting. Okay. Okay. Sorry, wife's just informing me that our water box, I keep calling it a water box, it's 30 litres of cold water. So you come out of the sauna and just pull this thing and get 30 litres, like a big shower. It's a glorified shower, really, but you'll see when it's filmed, you'll see. But yeah, my little rant, just, guys, if you are seriously thinking about coming to Russia, just do a little bit of research. You can't contact somebody and say, oh, tell me what I need to know. Because I'll tell you, oh, everything's wonderful and you can live for £1 a day. You know, and are you going to base your life on that? If you are, you're an idiot, to be honest. I'm sorry. You need to do a bit of basic research, even the real simplest of research. And then come with specific questions. I will happily talk to anybody. You can tell I like to talk. I'll happily talk to anybody and I'll happily answer any questions that I can or direct you in any which way I can. I like helping people. But throw me a bone. Ask me a specific question or a series of specific questions. How much would it cost for an apartment on the outskirts of an Napa, blah, blah? How much would a particular type of car cost me? What would my budget need to be? Blah. Specific questions. If you just say, tell me what I need to know, how the hell do I know what you need to know? You know, but to all the people that are laughing right now, you wouldn't believe the amount of times me, Sam certainly, a lot more than me, get contacted with these kind of questions. And I know people aren't trying to be stupid and they're just, you know, hitting the keys and going, oh, tell me what I need to know. But if that's as far as you've got, you haven't learned anything about Russia, you haven't researched it in any way, you don't know anything, and you'll just type into a YouTuber, tell me what I need to know, you're never going to move to Russia. You never will. Because there's so much that you need to know. So you really need to start doing some basic research and then ask specific questions. If you're going to learn about any subject, do you ever ask anybody, oh, just tell me what I need to know? And if you do, well, I pity you, because you're just going to be a clone of that person. You know, I could tell you exactly what I've done and you would just be a clone of me. You won't be as good looking, admittedly, but you will be a clone of me. There's no point. You've got to be your own person. You've got to have your own life. I can tell you where to start and I can happily answer any questions beyond that. As I've said before, and I'll say many times and I'll keep saying, first place you start if you want to move to Russia is climate. What climate do you want to live in? That's it. First place you start. Don't care what anybody else says. Other people will say this, oh, job, that, blah, blah, crap, rubbish. Sorry. First place you start is climate. Start with the climate you want to live in, because it's all available here in Russia. And if you don't get that bit right, everything else ain't going to work. You know, you might say, oh, you've got to start with a job. Well, what about people that don't need to work? What about people that the job that they want to do is very varied and they could do that anywhere in Russia? What about the other end of that spectrum where they could only do it in one place? Well, that place might be minus 50. I don't know. But what I'm saying is start with climate. Everything else can be worked on from there, because Russia's a big place. So, yeah, there's plenty of work available if people are wanting to come to this country and work, and, you know, most people will. There's plenty of work. And certainly in our region, there is a big gap in the skill level. There's plenty of people working, but specific skills and good quality, there is a gap, without a doubt. And certainly I think I would have no trouble getting a job or starting a business should I wish to. I don't at the moment. It's not part of my visa process. I'm not allowed to, but if I get to that point, I don't think I'm going to have any problems. Right. What are those idiots doing? Cats, bane of my life. Yeah, it's true. Actually, I like the approach. A Russian art channel, very sober, pure common sense. Yeah, I first saw his channel when I think he'd uploaded literally a couple of videos, and it just sort of made me look at it and think, ooh, hello. I wasn't it set alarm bells ringing because the guy literally hit the ground running. You know, very well produced, very slick videos, and, you know, literally like that straight away. You know, I've done over 200 videos and they're still like this, amateurish. So this guy really, to me, looked very strange. But I've subsequently found out that his background is in that kind of thing. So, you know, he knows absolutely how to work YouTube. And an interesting guy, definitely an interesting guy. I've had to, I haven't had to, but I've made the choice to change my thumbnail picture because I had the Russian arc that's been going around. I had that as my thumbnail picture, some of you may have noticed, and that's what he uses, and I didn't want to look like I'm trying to tag onto him or anything like that or distract from him. So I've changed my thumbnail, just, you know, out of a bit of respect, to be honest. I think he had it first, but I just wasn't aware of his channel. So as soon as I became aware of it, I changed it. So just, you know, is what it is. But an interesting guy. Like I say, I've watched a couple of his videos. And yeah, very knowledgeable about Russia, that guy. So yeah. Nelly, I know you're going to ask. Greetings. Moving to Russia takes you years to prepare. I'll contradict you there, Hopper. First start learning Russian, and a few times on vacation. Moving to Russia is not something like buying a Christmas tree. That's true. Moving to Russia is not like buying a Christmas tree. I don't necessarily think it takes years to prepare. It depends on the situation. My situation is very different to most people's. My wife's Russian. My wife had a flat in the town, in Napa. So for us, you know, before we even decided to move to Russia, you know, I came here on holiday and we stayed in her flat. So I was already ahead of most people in that regard because she obviously speaks English. So the translation was very simple. I haven't had to learn Russian. I still don't speak Russian, little bits. So for me, my situation has been completely different and much easier. If you are married to a Russian, then you're going to be in a similar situation. Does it take years of planning? No, it takes love and trust in your partner, for sure. And without that, yeah, if you're the sort of person that you don't trust your partner, you wouldn't share finances, you wouldn't do this and you wouldn't do that, then yeah, you're going to take years to prepare because you're going to have to do it all yourself. Oh, hello. Look at this one. This is Luna, short for lunatic, because you are, aren't you, little monster. She sees these things on a hoodie, and that's it. Plays with them, doesn't you? Which is all right when they're on a hoodie, like this. But what do jogging bottoms have? Yeah. And if they ain't done up, it's a painful day. Isn't it, Luna? Because all of a sudden you find you've got a cat climbing up your leg, using her claws as grip. Not pleasant, especially when she jumps. But yes, Hopper, yeah, I mean, it really depends on the situation. You know, we didn't spend years to prepare. I just came here and fell in love with the country. I really did. Hi, Tatiana. Hi, Tatiana. Sam has been a bit more dissuasive about it all. In what regard, Furby? I'd like to retire to Russia in a few years' time, ideally to somewhere in Sochi area. The problem is the property prices will probably go through the roof. I think property is just going to go up wherever you are, really. And that, I don't want to generalise like that because I think the world is going to go through a serious financial crisis at some point in the not too distant future, and that's probably going to affect property prices. But here in Russia, you've got to bear in mind what the sanctions have done. Russians used to travel abroad for holidays. Spain was a big destination. Spain really shot themselves in the foot by declaring that they're going to join the bandwagon of Russophobia and not allow Russian holiday making and all of this kind of crap. Idiots. 50% of their tourism was Russians. So yeah, talk about shoot yourself in the foot. And most European countries have done that. Are just brain dead, absolute brain dead. But there we go. But what it's done is it's meant that Russians, not being able to go abroad so easily, have just gone, okay, we'll stay in Russia. And towns like Napa, which is a seaside resort, it's always been a popular destination anyway, from what I understand, is just more so now. And more Russians are spending their money inside Russia. So there's a property boom, there's a business boom, there's a construction boom. Everything is being built. New roads are being built everywhere. Infrastructure is being built. There was something up our village the other day that made me comment on. Oh yeah, it was street lights and camera. I think a big truck had gone through and clipped a few street lights, and they were repaired within a week or two, I suppose. Whereas in the UK, they probably sit like that for months and months and months before they went, oh, our budget allows us to do it once a year. But we're here, they're repaired really quick. So yeah, lots of spending in infrastructure and construction and everything. So there's a boom, but I think certainly Western countries are going to suffer. So yeah. But even our property, from when we bought it, the price of the land has doubled from when we bought it 3 years ago. That said, it's still, if you're talking about Western money here, your money buys a lot. If you're talking about Russian money, then yeah, it's a big increase. A lot of Russians are finding it more difficult than it was. There have been price increases for sure, but Western money is a lot higher. So although there have been massive price increases in the West and everybody's still struggling, if you move your money to Russia, you get a lot more for your money. A lot more for your money. A year or two period is required for learning Russian or preparing to move to Russia. You're absolutely right. I have a wife to rely on. Wholeheartedly, 100% you're right there. I absolutely do. That's why a lot of us YouTubers, Sam has commented on this, we make it look so easy, and it's not out of intention. I don't intentionally make Russia look easy and wonderful. I just show my life. My life happens to be wonderful. But you're absolutely right. It is, and I've said this many times, it's wholeheartedly down to my wife, without a doubt. Without her, my life now wouldn't have been possible. So yeah, it makes a big difference on your particular circumstances. But, if your circumstances aren't the same as mine, I can still help. If you've got questions, hit me up on Telegram. Oh, Pasha. Privyat. Vesim is Russia. Privyat. Something is Russian. I don't know what. Luna is gorgeous. Takes after her dad. But yeah, she is. She's a cracking little kitten. They all are, to be honest. They've all got their own personalities, as cats have. We've got Grumpy Rosie. She's the matriarch of the family, and she just struts around. Proper pedigree cat. Very, I wouldn't say grumpy, but just absolutely has no time for fools at all. And consequently, she'll walk past the kittens and they'll go to play with her or nick her food or something, and she just doesn't stand for it at all. She's whack, which is quite funny. And then Rios, he's very independent. And then the other three, Luna, Gizmo, and Ripple, they're all their own little characters as well. They're really funny, make me laugh. Ross, morning, I see you in hoodies. What's the temperature? Is it like today that made you dress up? Yes, it's about 14 degrees today. I'm bloody cold. I was going to put a hat on. Yeah, sorry, Furby, in moving to Russia isn't some cakewalk. No, it's not. You know, for me it was. It was very simple. But even for me, it was still a challenge, even though I had and have, you know, my wife to rely on. My transition to Russia has been very easy compared to a lot of people. And that's important to remember. So your personal circumstances will dictate. But I think I will still say, no matter what your personal circumstances, whether you're married to a Russian or not, whether you speak the language or not, whether you intend to work here or not, the first thing you start with is the climate. And I'm happy to debate that with anybody. It absolutely is something, if you come from the UK, it's not something you would even think about. You just wouldn't. But here, it's absolutely imperative. You must think about the climate. Think about where you want to live, the region. Research the climate that you want to live in. Not research it, but decide the climate that you want. You know, do you want a long hot summer? Do you want an English summer? Do you want a snowy winter? You know, what do you want? Work out what you want, and then work out the regions that offer that. And then from those regions, you can then start looking at districts within those regions, and then towns within those districts. And that's the way to do it. Unfortunately, moving anywhere isn't easy, especially the older we get, the more difficult it becomes. Yeah, it's probably true. You know, it's certainly harder to learn a language when you're older. So yeah, you know, it depends on your outlook on life. If you're somebody that's risk adverse, i.e. you don't like taking risks, then you're going to spend a long time planning, preparing, trying to eliminate risk. If you're somebody that's literally happy to, hey, pack my bags, jump on a plane and let's see what happens. Yeah, I'm kind of a mixture of both. So calculated risks, really. But I do have an impulsive side to me that will just go, yeah, let's go and do that, you know. Oh, let's go and drive 300 miles today. Yeah, sure, I'll just do stuff like that, don't think about it. Yeah, but we saw people go hog wild saying, come, while not really preparing people for the process. Yeah, well, there's a big buzz about the new decree, or the recent decree, you know, and everybody just went, oh, this is my answer. Let's face it, a lot of people are struggling in the West with costs of living, with the culture, you know. I'm not going to start naming letters, but you know what I mean. And I think Russia has all of a sudden, with its traditional values, with its, you know, family unit kind of stuff, with its religion, with its respect, has opened a lot of people's eyes and been quite an attractive proposition. And I think people have just gone from A to Z without going through the rest of the alphabet. A lot of people have. They've just gone, my life here is crap. I don't like the culture anymore. I don't like this LG blah, blah, blah. I don't like the crime rate. I don't like the homelessness. I don't like the cost of living. I don't like. So they're really fed up. And then all of a sudden, something else looks magical. Yep, I'm going to do that. And they haven't planned that process or looked at that process or asked the questions about that process. They're just going to go out and do it. No, you ain't. You really ain't. It ain't that simple. And a lot of Brits think like that because we're used to just being able to travel around the continent, you know, just drive through the tunnel, flash your passport, drive through half a dozen countries, come home. And we're used to being able to do that. Oh, it's dead easy. Just move there. And so many people, so many Brits have moved to Spain or moved to France, you know, get a holiday place in the south of France. And that's always been easy. It's probably not so much so since Brexit, but they just assume that that's going to be the same going to Russia, and it's just not. It's just not. And the biggest thing will be the language, because it is nothing like the UK. And going to Spain or going to France, you'll get by. Coming to Russia without having a Russian partner, it's possible. You can do it, but you've got to be prepared for it. For getting to B1 level at least and getting to understand documentation, the rules, how things work. Right, gotcha. Yeah, so that was the 1 to 2 years. Depends if you're academic, I would say, Natalia. I'm not. I'm good with people. I'm good with building teams. I'm good with getting teams of people to work well together and get results. I'm good with my hands. I'm good at problem solving. I'm good at finding solutions to stuff. I am not a bookworm. I am absolutely rubbish academically. My brain just can't be bothered, throws it away. So for me, it will be a struggle. So it will definitely take me more than that. The problem is actually how to move funds from the West without losing out too much. Alex, you're absolutely right. So I was recently interviewed by Sputnik, and that will be coming out at some point. Some point in the future, I'm not sure when. They're going to let me know when it's going to be published. I think it's a written article to start with, but at the end of the interview, I did a video interview with the gentleman from Sputnik, and he asked if he could use it as a video interview as well. So I think the interview went reasonably well, and I think they were looking to do something more with it, and they're going to let me know what that is. And that was one of the things that I was asked about, what I thought about the new decree and how successful it will be. And my comments on that were, one, to reassure Russians, because I don't think you're going to get a massive influx of Westerners. You're going to get some, but they're going to be people coming with money or coming to work, so they're going to add to the society. You're not going to just get dropouts coming here, because they won't be able to afford it, or they won't be able to speak the language, or they won't be able to get a job, or blah 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 blah. So I wanted to reassure Russians really in that regard, but also I said that the biggest problem I see for Westerners moving to Russia is obviously, one, the language barrier, but you can get around that, but two is moving money. That's definitely a big challenge, but it is doable. Everything is possible, so there are ways. In the UK, around March, April every year, mad rush to fix everything that they can spend money from the budget. Yep, which we tend to sit on the potholes most of the year. Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly that. Yeah, UK roads are... When I first came to Russia, I noticed that in my head, I thought that the roads were a lot worse than they were in the UK. Now I'm here, and having gone back to the UK in May, definitely not. The roads are a lot better here. Apart from when you get into the villages and the side roads, which aren't tarmac roads, they're unmade roads. That's very common. Privyat from Australia, Sean. Good morning, afternoon or evening. You guys are hanging upside down, so I never know what time of day it is there. Amazing grip on your feet. Always staggers me. Nelly, you've had your thumbs up. Do it again. There you go. Yeah, I think Nelly... I've probably realised that Nelly is saying thumbs up as in like the video, or like the live stream, which I definitely appreciate. Many people have no idea how many problems they might face, like getting a registration in an apartment. Few property owners are ready to register in your property, even if you are Russian. Right, so that has been a recent law change as well. There's a decree that means that people can register themselves now. So this is, in the last couple of weeks, this has happened. Because exactly that problem. People, would come to rent an apartment, and then the owner of the apartment wouldn't register them because there was some fear of, something happening. I don't know what that fear is, but that has been changed now. There is now a change in the law where people can rent an apartment, and if they have a lease, they can use that lease to register themselves in that apartment. So that's a recent law change. And for people that don't understand, if you come to Russia, you need to be registered. If you're a foreigner, you need to be registered at an address. So normally most people have no concept of it because they'll come to a hotel, and the hotel will just, you'll book to the hotel will send you an invite, which you need for your visa, and they will register you at the hotel for the duration of your stay. But beyond that, if you're coming to live, if you're coming to rent an apartment or anything, you need to register at that address. The authorities need to know who you are and where you are. And some people might think that that's a totalitarian approach. I think it's brilliant. If you're a foreign national coming into a country, you should be locatable because, who are you? And ideally, you need to have at least B1 level of Russian to move here. B2 is better. Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that people don't understand. I certainly don't. B1 level, what's that mean? You know, what's B1 level, B2 level? This is language teacher speak, and language teachers know what B1 level, B2 level is. People like me don't have any concept of that. What is B1 level? What is B2 level? You know, here we go, C2. My goal is C2 English and Russian. I have no concept of what that means. So, yeah, I think people need to understand that, and it would do people some good to have an explanation of that. Explanation for foreigners: without this registration in a property, you won't be able to have your migration papers done. Yeah, correct. Yeah, that is correct. Level 1 Duolingo, 500 words. Right, so Hopper, are you at the stage where you can talk about seeing a crocodile in the back of a taxi? Are you there? Have you gone past that, or you're not quite there? I don't know. I stopped with Duolingo as soon as I got to that point. Talking about crocodiles in taxis. Not a sentence I think I'm ever going to use, although, to be fair, there is a crocodile farm in the high street in a Napa. You know, so you can go and get some food next door to a clothing store, next door to a crocodile farm. Russia, baby. I'm about 4 weeks into learning Russian using Duolingo, and I'm 69. It can be done. Yeah, it can. Yeah, absolutely can. It can. It depends if you're academic. Some people, you know, I've met people that, you know, can pick a language up in months. I'm not one of them. So we're all different. Natalia, then you need to learn through doing. Yeah, fortunately and unfortunately, my situation is a lot easier because my wife and our daughter speak fluent English. That's fortunate for me coming to Russia. It's unfortunate for me to learn the language because we speak in English. So I'm not immersed in it. And when we go around friends, I use Google Translate. And to be honest, we have a right laugh with Google Translate because sometimes the translation is questionable, I think is the word. It's challenging sometimes. Geb, hi from the Philippines. Blimey, hi. Long way out. Duolingo, it's an app, Sean. Learning app. Hopper, how are you going with the Russian and what is your native language? Big part of Brics, though, is a money system, plus Nitsi and Kaluga seem to be taking the lead on making the process better. Yeah, so there's a lot of talk about Brics nations and the Brics currency. I don't think there will ever be a Brics-specific currency, and I'll tell you why. There is no need for it. It actually is quite restrictive having one currency that every country, because every country then has to balance everything according to that currency. And I think that's quite restrictive. It ties them all together way too much and restricts their financial adjustments for their own country. And I think that's the downfall with the euro. What is available, and I believe that Russia will do, is use a bridging asset instead between the Brics currencies, between the Brics countries, so that they will all keep their native currency, and then they will trade with each other. It will have interoperability using a bridging asset, so you'll have a pool of liquidity pool, and you'll put rubles in one side and you'll get rupees out the other, and that is a current system. I actually can use that now. I can buy a particular asset with a UK pound. I can send that asset to a payment provider in Russia and it arrives as a ruble. So it transfers on its journey. And that journey is 3 to 5 seconds. So that's the sort of technology that is available now. So SWIFT is over, done. Well, in its current form, its current messaging system is done, it's finished. It's a 50-year-old system, it's antique, it's antiquated. What do you use technology-wise that's 50 years old nowadays? Can't think of anything, nothing. but the SWIFT system. So it will change. It is changing. The SWIFT system is changing. They're desperately trying to play catch up. They tried to stop the innovation, and when they realised that they couldn't stop it, they've tried to jump on with it. But there are lots of systems available now to actually transact and send money cross-border, or send value cross-border. That's probably a more accurate statement. So Brics, I don't think, will need a specific currency. They just won't need it. Roz, speaking of funds, I don't think moving funds in one chunk as a one-off isn't too bad. The challenge is to have reliable, stable channels to transfer pension, as an example. Yes. There are ways. That's all I can say, really. There are ways. Pension, state pension is different. Private pension, you can transfer. It's difficult to see what the ways are from outside of Russia, but when you're inside Russia, you can see lots of different channels that are available to you. It's not as straightforward as it is in the UK yet. Sean, I find hearing translating is okay, but reading and writing, well, that's hard. Yeah, I can read it. Hearing it and translating it, yeah, no, I can read it, ish. Debbie, I'm married to a Russian and we have a baby together. How long do I have to wait to migrate to citizenship from permanent residency? Ooh, good question. Are you living in Russia? I think if you've got a child with a Russian, it's a done deal, basically. Russia does not like separating families. So to go from permanent residency to a citizenship, there is a time frame, but I think it's different with a Russian child, which, you know, if your child was born in Russia, then it's a Russian child's got a Russian passport. I think it's different for you, but that's if you're born in Russia. If you're not, if you're outside of Russia, this is the thing. There are so many variables to visa process and temporary residency, permanent residency, citizenship. Every person has got a different set of circumstances, so you will have different situation. But that's something, and that's why people need to go to the right website and, you know, go to the embassy for questions like that, or maybe the visa centre, to get a specific answer to your specific situation, because one size doesn't fit all. Roz, Sean, well done, that's half the job done. Once you get used to alphabet letters, you'll get there. It's a good, because phonetically letters represent sounds, yes. So, yeah, if you can read Russian, then you can speak it, apparently. They don't waste letters. If there's a letter in a Russian word, it's there for a reason, apart from the ones that make stuff silent or emphasise it. Watch my alphabet video. I'll give you a brief insight into the Russian language. I think the approach to know where a foreigner are is really good. We see the problems that came when we don't know where they are and what they're doing. Speaking as a German, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, there are lots of things. I mean, look at what's happened in Moldova recently with this voting. Now, every country does it. They have a diaspora where, if you're outside of the country, you can vote. I would change that. I would say if you're outside of your country of residence on holiday, you can vote in your country's elections. If you're outside of your country's residence working and you've got a working visa for a short period of time, or even, you know, a long period of time, I suppose, then you should be able to vote. But if you have moved to another country, what right really should you have to vote in your original country? Just think about it. If you are, let's take, you're a German. You're a German, you've lived your life in Germany, and you've moved out of Germany, you've moved to Spain, and that's now your permanent residence. What right should you have to vote in a German election to dictate policy in a country you don't live in? That's what's happened in Moldova. And it has all been influenced by the West, from what I can see, because Moldovans wholeheartedly voted to not join the EU in that referendum. You know, there was a majority vote which they won, and also the president, or whoever she is, Maria Sandu, she didn't get the most votes, but the diaspora, which were the people outside of Moldova, apparently did vote. So the vote, you know, closed on the night of voting where they'd lost, and then on the next day the diaspora votes came in and they'd won. It's not right. It's not right. Also, with that, there are something like, well, the number varies. I've heard 200,000 Moldovans, and I've heard 500,000 Moldovans live in Russia. Yet only 2 places for Moldovans were available to vote in Russia. That's all that they were allowed to have, and they were only given 10,000 voting slips. So if let's take 200,000 Moldovans. So out of the 200,000 Moldovans, only 10,000 could vote because they're in Russia. Bit of election fixing there, do you think? Just standard MO, isn't it? If the West doesn't like the result, they'll change it. So it's wrong. It shouldn't happen. It absolutely shouldn't. And then they'll scream, you know, as the Moldovan president is screaming, oh, election fixing and Russia interference and all that. Really? People don't know what's going on, really. They don't. They just see the Western narrative, and it's, yeah. That's what I don't like about Duolingo. Crocodile dead language application, not useful practically. Yeah, absolutely. It's good for helping you with the letters. I think beyond that, it just goes down a path that's not practical. You end up learning words that you're not going to need. Well, you will need to learn the language, but you don't need straight away. And it focuses a lot on grammar, which Russians really focus on grammar when they're teaching. But you ask any English person, really, about grammar, it's not a focus. You know, English people, as you can tell, we don't speak grammatically correctly, as I've just demonstrated right there. So it's not a focus. And I think people, if they're learning, they shouldn't be focusing on grammar. They should be focusing on just being able to say the words. Don't focus so much on precise pronunciation. Because there's a lot of Russians that just slur their words, and, you know, it's all over the place. And that's the same in the UK. You know, from one end of the country to the other, it's the same language, allegedly. A lot of time you need translation. Hopper, C2 English fluent, and you can communicate on the university professional level. Yeah, C2s, B2s. Russia will be the prosperous part of the world. The West is in every aspect. Yeah, a lot of people would agree with that. A lot of people would agree with that. Ferenc? Blimey. I'm English. I'm crap at reading anything other than English, and I can't read that very well. B2 is required for citizenship. Okay. Required for citizenship or permanent residency? Because I think for most people moving to Russia, that's really your goal, permanent residency. Beyond that, getting Russian citizenship is something that you can work towards, but I don't think that should be your aim. Your aim should be for permanent residency. Hello, are you from Russia? Shu, I am in Russia. I live in Russia. This is Russia. It's overcast at the moment. It's terrible weather. Well, compared to what we used to. But no, I'm an English fool. That's for those who are not married to Russians and have babies with them. Yeah. Crocodile, not yet, but I also do a Russian language learning book. Okay, yeah. By the way, have you tried Rootfee website with blockchain transfers? No, Rootfee, I haven't heard of that. The French expat Charles spoke about it around 3 weeks ago. No, I haven't heard of route fee. The trouble is, Natalia, there are hundreds. There are so many. There's a website that shows all the websites, or lots of other websites and peer-to-peers, and there's so many options. And, you know, people tend to promote the one that they use. They tend to say, oh, this one's brilliant because that's the one they're using, and it might not suit everybody. So I haven't heard of route fee. It'll just be another payment provider, I guess. Hopper, he knows 500 words. Sergey, disagree. Brics must have its own currency. Yeah, we'll have to agree to disagree there, Sergey. I do not think it's necessary. It would have been necessary in the old world, but in the new modern world, blockchain will be king. You have to remember that Russia trialled blockchain technology in 2018. They used a particular system for cross-border payment in 2018, 6 years ago. So this isn't new to Russia. This has been well and truly underway for a long, long time. And blockchain technology negates the fact or the need for a specific currency for all countries to use, like the US dollar, for example. Because, you know, with blockchain technology, you can move value, you know, tokenization, basically, the internet of value. You tokenize everything, and then everything can be sent, you know, or payment for anything can be sent anywhere at any time to any person. You know, at the moment, if you want to buy a saucepan from somebody in China using a dollar, what are you going to do? Use the SWIFT system, and if you can't use the SWIFT system, you're going to stick it in an envelope and post it to them, aren't you? Blockchain negates all of that. What Chris said is what it sounds like they're doing. They are doing. This is one subject that I've spent since 2016. I've been looking at blockchain. So yeah, it's not they are doing it, it's done. You know, this is what people don't understand. People are so far behind the curve when it comes to blockchain. It's done, it's built, it's in the background, it's running, it's already there. Debbie White, yes. They might change the law soon to avoid fake marriages with migrants. So you need to check with local authorities. Yeah, I mean, going back to that earlier, Debbie, it's your specific situation. My child is a Russian citizen, my partner a Russian also, currently in Russia on a permanent residency, hoping migrating to citizenship soon. Do you know what, Debbie? It's going to be a doddle for you. Absolute doddle for you. I'm assuming you're married. If you're married to a Russian and you have a Russian child together, citizenship is not going to be difficult for you. Moldova is another Victoria Nuland clown show. Yeah, I mean, Moldova should be just left alone. You know, but unfortunately, Western interference creates war, which generates income. And, you know, that's just... I hope that the Moldovans look at what's happened to Ukraine and just think, yeah, we don't want any of that. And that's what should happen. They should be just left alone to get on with sorting their own issues out. But unfortunately, there is massive... there's just massive interference with that country. And it's not for anybody's benefit other than Western powers. It's not for Moldovans' benefit. Definitely not. Manipulation is in plain sight. You just got to do the math to see it. Yeah, this is the thing. Everything's in plain sight. People just don't go and look. They just turn on their TV, watch the BBC or CNN, and that's the news. That's what's actually happening. That's real. And really, that's the opposite of what's happening. They're updating migration laws right now, so there are many changes all the time. Yes, there are, absolutely. So any local authorities who you're going to accept your documents might help with you. Yes. Ferric, you're in Hungary. Here in Hungary, we also rely on outside voting. Without that, the Soros NGO money would completely destroy the country. Yes, there's fors and againsts. As I've said, you know, for me, I think that people living in the country should be the people that make the choices for that country, ultimately. People living, just think about it logically. How can somebody that's living in another country, that just because they were born, for example, they were born in Hungary, they lived in Hungary for 15 years, and then they've moved with their parents to America, and they now live in the US. What do they know about Hungary? And what right should they have to vote on how Hungary is governed, how the laws are dictated? It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. And if it doesn't make sense, yeah. Yeah, I'll leave the B1s and B2 questions to you guys. Why do Brics don't use USDT? Right, don't get me started on USDT. So USDT, a lot of people think that that's the US dollar. It's not. It is a private company that says that its token, its blockchain token, is backed with a dollar. But there has not been a single audit that has proved that to be true. It is purely based on what they say. They say that we have one-to-one dollar backing, but it's widely accepted that they don't. So Tether, USDT, is not the US dollar. It is a token representing itself as USDT, saying that it is backed by the dollar. And much like Luna, Terra Luna, a lot of people think that it could potentially collapse at any time. And if it could, or if it did, it could be going from $1 to 0 in 24 hours. That's how quick it can go. So for me, yeah, USDT is a form of transaction. You can use it to transact, but it is not a US dollar, and it shouldn't be relied on in that regard. I've got a just got to deal with this. Yes, got rid of the moron. Russia also almost fell into that manipulation in the 90s. Yeah, absolutely. It did fall into that manipulation in the 90s. Absolutely did. And then look what it did to the country. Nearly destroyed it. A lot of people were destroyed by that. So yeah, outside interference. Countries should be sovereign. They should govern themselves. They should train, independently. All of this collective, putting everybody together in one big melting pot, I've never agreed with. I don't think it's the right way. Or we should all live together in peace and harmony. Well, why can't we do that as a sovereign country? Why do we have to be one giant melting pot where everybody gets on with everybody and blah? It just generally doesn't happen. England is a good example of why it doesn't happen and doesn't work, and Russia is a good example of why it does. And the main difference is the size of the country. If you fill a small country like England and, fill the towns and push everybody in on top of each other, and you build these stupid little houses with no gardens so that everybody's on top of each other, you're going to cause division. If you've got a big country like Russia where people have the choice to live in different places, then you'll find different, cultures in Russia, but they all get on because they're not rammed down each other's throats all the time. This is my opinion, it's my belief. Whereas in the UK, yeah, look at Brixton, there's an example. Was a predominantly white area, is now 80-90% a black area. I know that. I have experience of that from a friend of mine that was living in a road that was all white, and he is now, and although I haven't spoken to him for a long time, but he's now the only white person in that road. So yeah, if you do that, you're going to cause friction. So size of the country and how you how you apportion the towns and things like that have a big impact on how people get on with each other. Fiat money isn't real anyhow, it's just a statement of credit. Fiat money is paper, it's worthless. It's, I promise to pay the bearer, that's what it is, that's all it is. It doesn't have any utility, it is absolutely useless for anything other than transacting because somebody has agreed that it's worth what it says it's worth. But it's, you know, it's the latest iteration of money. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, money changes every 100 odd years, the iteration of how we transact. You know, bartering with goats and concrete blocks, things chiselled out on them, to struck coins, to gold, to, you know, to paper money, to credit cards, to, you know, everything. Everything has an evolution, and we're going through that evolution now with blockchain. So, yeah. The countries are fighting with these cryptos, one to gain control, the other to escape it. The WEF is actually scaring me the most, BlackRock, etc. Yeah. It's not so much the countries, it's the banking system. The banking system, you know, the SWIFT system being 50 years old, the banking system, the bankers do not want to change. Why would they? They've got it cushy. You know, they make an awful lot of money. They don't want to innovate. They don't want technology. And blockchain came along. And if blockchain was allowed to do what it can do and what it should do, thanks, wife. If it was allowed to do what it can do and what it should do, you would never need a bank. It would put the banks out of business. And do you think that the most powerful entities in the world would allow that? So that's why it's had the brakes put on it. That's why you've been scared. That's why you've been told that it's fraudulent and it's for money laundering, it's for drug dealing and all of this to scare you, to keep you away from it. Whilst, you know, initially they just tried to stop it, and now they realise they can't stop it. And now it is about getting the paths in place for the banking system to have a way of controlling it. And the only way they can control the blockchain system is with what we call the on and off ramps. So how you interact with it to get your money onto it and how you get your money off of it. That's the only bit that they can control. And even that, there are systems out there that will allow you to pay people directly. So it's a huge fight, and it's all about gaining control, and it's not so much the countries, it's the banking system that's trying to do it. But once they get to a point where everything's in place, they'll tell you that it's the best thing since sliced bread and you should all invest in it. They'll just call it a different name. They won't call it crypto because they've spent years dirtying that name and telling you how evil it is. It will be called blockchain technology, it will be called DLT, it will be called digital asset, it will be called something, but it won't be called crypto. But it's all the same, just by a different name. The United States haven't been sovereign since the Bank of England Rothschild Bank was established in 1913. Yeah. Classic old council house gardens were massive. Yeah. Victorian houses in the UK, big houses. What are they now? Apartments. Most Victorian houses, well, I don't know about most, but certainly a vast majority, I would say. Is that most? Yeah, it's the same thing, isn't it? Bloody idiot. Yeah, they're converted to flats, aren't they? More money. 1880s, my channel, that's when it started. Sorry, 1880s, yeah. My channel is the title, yeah. Is it possible to save UK for the native population? Depends what you call the native population now. The decline of the UK hasn't come in the last few years. It has been going on for decades. And this idea that we can get everybody from all different nationalities to live together without recognising that these people have their own cultures, their own beliefs, and accepting them, and just putting everybody into a country and saying, well, these are the set of rules that you must abide by, but without enforcing them, it's just a recipe for disaster. And that's decades this has been going on. So there is no going back in time to a place where England was is a predominantly white country with white beliefs, white this and white that. It's gone too far the other way now. They should have implemented and enforced migration laws much more strictly than they have. It is just going to be a melting pot without any national pride. Unfortunately, there's going to be the diehards that will hold on to the pride of the UK, but yeah, it is, for me, it's gone too far. Their immigration and the way that they've managed migration, unfortunately, has killed the country. I'm just going to unplug that because I'm now charged, and I'm going to plug in the other one. Sorry. Oh, the woes. There we go. Put that in there. That's it. Yeah, so people talk about, changing England and getting rid of all the migrants and this, that and the other. It will never happen, and people need to understand that. It will never happen. It can't happen. It's impossible. Too many laws with too many loopholes. I was little then, but I remember the pure chaos of the 90s. Nothing functioned, and what little did work was maybe, yeah. Gold's a useless asset for anything. Really? Really? Gold is just shiny. Okay. Gold is heavily used in industry. From heat insulation to, silver's more used in industry, to be fair, I think. Silver is a really good conductor, so it's used in solar panels, it's used in speaker cables, for example. So it's heavily used, but gold is as well. Gold has a huge use industry. It has a use case, so it isn't just shiny. What can you use a £10 note for, other than spending in a shop? What can you do with it? You can start a barbecue with it, I suppose, as long as you've got a match to light it in the first place. But that's all it is useful for. It doesn't get used for anything. It has no use case. Chris is dead on about the banks. They are lazy asses who just want to maintain their authority and manipulation. Yeah, absolutely they do. Banks have you sign a note, which is a promissory note, cash in, Fed window, and then also get a mortgage. Yeah, well, houses were invented by banks. Mortgages were invented by banks. That should tell you everything. Used to drive up the cost of property so the natives can't afford it. Yep. With a Russian spouse and child, no language test required, no temporary residency. You automatically get a permanent residency, then citizenship, all without a language test. There you go, Debbie. You've answered your own question then. If you are enforcing rules of European civilization on people, we've literally walked out of the grass huts yesterday, technically oppressive and undo. Yeah, I believe that if you plan to migrate to another country, you should, 1, do it the legal way. You should go through the legal channels. 2, you should respect those. You shouldn't be moaning about the process. Yes, it might be tough, and yes, we're all going to go, oh, fuck me, it's hard work. It is what it is. Suck it up. You should absolutely integrate into that country. And this is coming from a person that doesn't speak Russian, so I'm being, hypocritical. But you should contribute to that country. You should add to its local economy. You shouldn't move to an expat area where you've got a development of 500 houses and everybody is from one country. That's terrible. I wholeheartedly am absolutely against that. Absolutely. I'm not against expats forming, chat groups and meeting up, to discuss problems and whatever, but I absolutely am against these expat villages that people are trying to start. I absolutely against it. I really am. I think it's terrible. I think it's terrible for the country. I think it's terrible for those people. All they're doing is just trying to get the best out of the country that they're moving to and leave the worst of their own country behind. It's just, you're never, it's never going to work. It is not a good idea. Yeah, you know, if you come to, I agree with how Russia is. Russia has a stiff immigration policy. There are rules that you have to follow. There's a process that you must go through. And the biggest thing I think here is that the language in Russia is Russian. So, you know, learn Russian, basically. Learn about the history of the country, learn about the laws. That's how you get, you know, that's how you get your temporary residency, permanent residency, citizenships, etc., etc. And I agree with that. I think it's correct. I think this open border nonsense is, it's just, well, look how successful it's been. Look at the state of the EU. Do you think that's a good example of a successful experiment? No. It's an absolute disaster, isn't it? UK's inherent issue with lack of resources. This is the main limiting factor. There can be enough energy and some resources, but for much smaller population. Yeah, that's true to a certain degree, but UK is an island, so it still has to import. So UK really should be on good relations with all countries. They should have free trade. They shouldn't be tied in, and that's why they, you know, Brexit came along. And that was, I believe, a good thing, but just done in a bad way. The idea was correct. This European Union, I don't agree with. I never have. I think it's nonsense. You know, you've got all different nationalities and that, and you're just trying to make open borders and everybody move freely. It's great if you want to go on holiday, but that's where it ends. It's great if you want to, if you've got a product that everybody wants, it's great for you. And they're the people that shout and moan about it the most, because they're the ones it's affected. But as regards everything else, it's a terrible idea. Countries should be sovereign. They should have borders. They should have control of their own borders. And they shouldn't have somebody in Brussels telling them what shape their banana should be. Do one. Yeah. Very true, Natalia. The porridge, indeed. Casper V. So who holds you at gunpoint? What? You better explain that one, mate. I have no clue what that means. Can you help and invite more British Christians to resettle in Russia? No. If you're talking to me specifically, no. I am not an immigration specialist. I'm not a lawyer. I might be able to answer specific questions. I have no intention of trying to help anybody move to Russia. That's my YouTube channel, is to show people real Russia. It is not about making a pathway for people to move to Russia. It is just, it's my life in Russia. It's just, you know, this is where I live. I talk about, you know, what I want to show people what Russia is really like, not what they are told it's like by mainstream media. That's what my channel's about. It is not to create a pathway for immigration. It's not my job, so no. I thought you spoke Swahili. Yet. Thomas, better than Russia. I mean, when people make statements like that, I really don't know what to do with it. My first reaction is just delete, ban. But, you know, maybe you're making a... Maybe English isn't your first language. Maybe you're trying to make a point about something. But better than Russia. In relation to what? What does that mean? Good luck with that. Brits hold on to their Russophobia for no reason. No, they hold on to it for a very good reason, because it's hammered into them every single day by mainstream media and the British government. That's why they hold on to it. because Brits are lazy. We are lazy. So we don't research anything. We just turn on the TV or whatever, and we're sheep. You know, we live on an island, so it's very easy to control the narrative. It's very easy to tell you the news, and we're all brought up to believe that the news is news, not propaganda. And the news is not news. It is absolutely not. It is propaganda. It is a controlled narrative from one side. It is not unbiased information. And that's what news should be. It should be unbiased information. And that is not true in the UK. And not true in most Western countries. In the end of the day, your economy has to have both resources and production potential, not just a print bunch of paper and claim that you're rich. What production does UK has? Most of the industry in the UK has been destroyed and beaten down because the direction that it was going to be was, you know, one government, one world, you know, everybody making their part. The trouble is with this world is there are people that want control of all the resources. You know, they're not happy with being rich. They want to be powerful. They want to control everything. And I think Russia is the only country in the world that has the ability to be completely self-sufficient. And, you know, Western powers don't want that. They don't want that. They want the resources. Yeah, but it's just going about it the wrong way. War is not the answer. I think he said he's not, but there are a lot of Russians returning. Last I went to Orthodox services. What region of Russia are you living in? So, I am in Krasnodarsky Krai, on the coast of the Black Sea, across the water from Turkey, about 60 miles away from Crimea is where we are. About the EU, Germany don't have open borders anymore. That ideal is in the trash bin already. Yeah. Yeah, it should be very simple, shouldn't it? You know, if you enter a country illegally, you just turned round and within 24 hours you're sent back to where you came from, regardless of whether that was your country of origin. Like Britain, everybody comes across the channel from France. So what Britain should be doing is getting them as soon as they land, and within 24 hours they're back in France. That's where it should be. And then France should be kicking them back to where they come from. Because what that will do, France will say, well, we don't know where they came from. Well, you should enforce your borders then, shouldn't you? You should make sure that you do know where they come from. If anybody comes in, if somebody comes into my back garden, I'm going to know where they come from. They're either that side, or that side. And that's how a country should be. And any kind of movement through your country, you should know where it's come from. So it's very easy to then grab hold of somebody, spin them 180 degrees and push them back the way they came. And that's what it should be if it's illegal entry. But oh no, there's too many laws, and there's too many people in Brussels going, oh, you can't do that. Oh, the human rights. Yeah. Rather than general Brit holds it, they have a lack of interest in anything outside of their house generally. So average person just accepts news. Yeah, absolutely. The trouble is, it started off with us being told that the BBC is, you know, very unbiased and presents the news, and we're brainwashed into believing that. Now it's a case that people don't have the time. Now it's a case that people are so focused on trying to earn enough money to pay the bills and keep the roof over their head that spending hours and hours every day researching what's actually happening in the world, people just don't have that ability. And that is how media and propaganda controls. They know people don't have the opportunity, so they can just control the narrative. And, you know, I think everybody's brought up to get two sides of a story. We're all told, you know, oh, you know, don't believe what you're told. If your friend says this, then, you know, about another friend, you should get both sides of the story. We're not given that opportunity. In the UK, you're just told it from one side, and yeah, lazy or just don't have the time, whatever the reason. But people in the UK just do not go and research. And if they did, then I think the UK will be a different place. I grew up in the 80s. I had it hammered into me also, but I was probably too ignorant to care about hating some people somewhere. Yeah. UK has small manufacturing plants. Yes, cottage industry stuff really. Steel mills, but the scale is rather small, and still aircraft industry. Yeah, I mean, the UK for innovation is amazing. You know, our the ability to innovate and technologically advance is fantastic. But the actual process beyond that and scaling it, it's just not there. There's not enough support and help. Aircraft industry, Airbus. Yeah, well, Airbus is mainly France, I think, anyway, isn't it? I think. I'm not sure. Might be wrong there. Glad to see there's some Brits with common sense. Well, you know what they say about common sense? It ain't that common. Glad to see you're trying to make a difference and wake up people at this crucial time for the world. All I want to do is I just want this channel to be truthful. I don't want people... What I want doesn't matter. It's irrelevant what I want. I don't run the world. I don't run a country. I don't run a town. So what I want is irrelevant. For me, the goal of this channel is to show blue skies, swimming pool, to show people that Russia isn't probably what they are led to believe it is. And the reason for me, why do I want to do that? I've said this again many times, is because I came to this country not because I fell out of love with the UK. I still love my country, but I fell in love with this country. And it pains me to see the lies that are told. It really does. It was the most... what's the word? I don't want to say eureka moment. It wasn't that. It was the biggest eye-opening moment of my life coming to this country. And it really has been life-changing, because it's given me the opportunity to see the other side, to see the other version. And what's made me angry is that it is nothing, Russia is nothing like I was led to believe all my life it was, by Hollywood, by the UK press, by the Western press and media. It is all directed to make Russia look bad, and that I think is terrible. And now I'm awake to it, and I think it's awful. It really is. It's embarrassing for an English person. It really is. And all I want to do is not fill my channel with propaganda. Oh, Russia is great and England is terrible. No, what I want to do is say, this is Russia. Make your own mind up, because that's what I think people should do. And that's what I think people should be able to do. They should be able to get unbiased information from wherever they want. Not, you know, you can only watch this channel, you can only read this newspaper. No. And I tell you what, this is another thing. Can you watch any Russian TV in the UK? Can you watch Russian news reporting, unbiased, and just make your own mind up with subtitles? Because I can here in Russia. I can watch the news in Russia, and every night that I do watch it, there are reports from the BBC, from CNN, and Russia shows it. Can you say that's true in the UK? And this is the allegedly the dictatorship, yeah, where everything's controlled. There's another one for you, and it's I can sit here all day and tell you about the lies, but all I want to do is show people so they can make their own mind up. They don't have to love Russia. I fell in love with Russia. Doesn't mean you have to. I'm not saying that at all. But you should have the opportunity to be able to see Russia, Russian people, how people live. You know, somebody like me should be able to say, well, this is what I do today, and this is where we live, and this is the temperature, and there's the swimming pool, and there's, you know, all of this kind of stuff. And you should be able to see that so you can make your own mind up. You shouldn't have it hammered into you, what is hammered into you, that it's snow, bears, gangsters, vodka, horse and cart, because that's the mentality that most Brits have about Russia. And why? government and media. Mainly media, which is driven by government. Media is just an arm of government. Russophobia is real. It is. Also in Holland, I already have lost friends. Oh, I lost... Well, no, that's not true. I've said this before. I didn't lose any friends. Hopper, did you really lose friends? Think about it. Did you really lose friends? Or did you delete people from your life that were fake? Because that's what I've done. I haven't lost any friends. I still have my friends. I got rid of an awful lot of people, like Facebook friends, not really friends. And I got rid of a lot of fake and false people that would say something to your face or say something behind your back that wouldn't say it to your face. And I've got no time for that. I'm too old and I don't have the time for it. A friend of mine is from Donetsk. They're already at war with Russophobia. Yeah. That's why I learned Russian, because I'm on the side of the people of Donetsk. Yeah. I met a young lady last summer from Donetsk. She came to Russia to work. She's Ukrainian, Ukrainian citizen. She came to Russia to work because both her parents were killed. Yeah, people need to research. I'm not going to sit here and start talking about that. People need to research. They need to understand the truth. Yeah, Airbus manufacturing spread around a few European states, yeah. Airbus needed 5 countries to compete with Boeing monopoly. Yeah. Sean, great chat. I agree with 99% of what you've said. Well done and thank you. Thank you, Sean. Very nice of you to say. Miguel, I have got no chance with that, I'm afraid. Joe King, hi. Hi, Joe King. Lovely name, love that. Oh boy. Yeah, oh boy. Cheers, I guess. There's so much Russophobia in the West, you're right. Yeah, it is, absolutely everywhere. Privyet, Alex. Nathan, information. Yeah, what? What information? You're giving it, receiving it, want it, looking for it? Have you gone to the former Soviet Union countries and talked to those people? About what? What would I... So the simple answer is, have I been... so I've been to Croatia. Been through Bulgaria. Through Romania. I don't know how Soviet you want to be. I don't know, my geography's crap. If you're talking about Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, really, and what relevance would it have about talking to those people about former Soviet Union? Doesn't really have any bearing on today in that regard. Russia isn't the Soviet Union. There's a proverb in Russia, it's better to see once with your own eyes than to hear about something many times. Yep, absolutely it is. Russians are good people. I think so. Is it nice in Russia? Skynet Cyberdyne Systems. Is it nice in Russia? Simple answer. Simple, very simple answer is yes. Very simple answer. Ask me a specific question, I can give you a much more specific answer, but the simple answer is yes. Yeah. The lifestyle I have here is something that I could only dream of having in the UK. 37-year-old friendship from toddler. Ah, okay. Yep, yeah, I'm with you. Not just Western news, our own anti-Russian channels were shut down only after 2022, and all those blatantly were Russophobic. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Are there job opportunities? Yeah, well, with virtually zero unemployment, there most certainly are. If you want to ask me a specific question, tell me what what line of work would you look for? And I can tell you whether it's a yes or no. But you have to remember, and this is what I will say to everybody watching, what I'm talking about is my experience of Russia. I cannot say this is Russia. You know, this happens throughout Russia, because I haven't been throughout Russia. Same as I couldn't say that about the UK. I could talk about my particular area, and people do that. We, you know, especially Brits, we generalise. We say, oh, Russia this or England that, and we generalise. I can say it with England to a certain degree, because I've travelled all through England and I've got friends in all different parts of England. But Russia, I can only speak of my own experience in my town, in my region. I'm fairly new to the country. You know, 2021 was the first time I came here. So my experience is very limited, but I can speak about my experience. So I'm more than happy to do that. Oh, you lost his friendship with him? Yeah, I mean, I had... I can give you one example. I knew a guy for many years, and a clever guy. His name was Andy, very clever guy, college lecturer. And we fell out over Russia, purely because he just had blinkers on. You know, in his world, Russia was this evil dictatorship that had invaded another country without any reason or any provocation. And that was his thought process. And because I didn't agree with that, which I don't, you know, that statement is absolute bullshit. If you actually go and look, that is a line that is fed to you. And it's widely accepted now that without provocation, you know, that's disappeared from the headlines, isn't it? Because everybody knows that that's bullshit. It wasn't without provocation. But 2 years ago, that's all you were told. Oh, Russia's invasion without provocation. Russia's invasion without provocation. That's what you were told. Where's that narrative gone? Amongst many, many others. Yeah, difference between conspiracy theory and fact is 6 months. So, and that's the same with bullshit, I think. The truth will always out, but it's never at the time. And that's what the Western media is so good at. It's about, you know, they're so good at making a lie and, you know, running with it and, you know, and getting people to believe it. So, yeah, I get why you lose a friendship, but yeah, I lost a friendship, you know, that friendship. But I don't see that as a loss anymore. I see that as, you know, if somebody doesn't have the ability for critical thought, then we're probably going to be a long way apart, because I think you should question everything. And I should, you know, and I believe that people should be able to make their own minds up about something without having it rammed down their throat. So I don't watch TV. And I stopped watching TV in the UK. I don't watch mainstream media news. I will gather my information from multiple sources, and then I'll cross-reference it. Because I think if you just go to one place, you're only ever going to get one story. So you need to don't listen to the TV unless your TV is being pumped from the internet and you're getting it from multiple sources. But if it's a mainstream media news channel, you're not getting the truth. You're getting propaganda. You're getting one-sided version. Call it a mind virus, yeah. So is Russia nice? Like overall people, infrastructure, nature? Right, simple. Overall people, Russian people are amazing. Humbling. They do not think like Western people at all. They understand that whilst a Western government might be very evil in its approach towards Russia, that isn't me, you know. And I've found it many times where Russians will say, well, what have you done to me? Why should I dislike you? Because I came here thinking I've got to be careful about what I say and to who, because I'm from England, and the attitude is, okay, you're from England, and what have you done to me? Whereas in England, we're programmed now, I hate Russians, Russians are evil. And that's absolute bullshit. They are the most friendly, they're very straightforward, there's no bullshit. They won't smile at you and go, oh, have a nice day, and then as soon as you turn around, go, wanker. They don't do that. If there's something to be said, they'll tell you. They're very straightforward. They'll tell you, if you're being a dick, they'll tell you you're being a dick. The infrastructure is being built all the time. My region of, when I first came here in 2021, I saw a drone the size of a small car flying over a grape field, or vineyard, sorry, grape field. What the fuck? Flying over a vineyard, spraying the grapes. And that was autonomous. So it went back to a platform, refueled itself, loaded itself with more spray when it was empty, and then went off again. And that was fully autonomous. And I saw that in 2021 when I came here, and that blew my mind. And that's one example of many, many things here that I've seen technology-wise that have blown my mind. You know, anybody that drives in Russia in the back roads, shall we say, not the towns where there's no street lighting, will know what I'm talking about when I say about, you know, bends in the road. Far and away in front of anything in the UK. So technology and infrastructure is being built all the time. There's constant construction. So yeah, you know, it's a permanent thing. I was speaking to Sam this morning, and he said there's a saying that if you buy a house in Russia, it's permanently a building site. You will always be building on it. And I think that's true of Russia. It's always being built. And nature here is just stunning. I mean, there isn't a bug here that I've recognised from the UK. Every bug here is different. We have praying mantis in the garden, which are, you know, I think they're an amazing creature. And we have them in the garden. I didn't know that they actually flew until I came to Russia. And one flew into the garden. I didn't know they had wings. My cat likes them. Idiot. But yeah, nature-wise, you know, we have things here like big moths that look like hummingbirds. When you move beyond the bugs and the creatures and you start looking at the hills and the area, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And you know, have a look at Russia, Altai Mountains, Caucasian Mountains, Caucasus, oh, I don't know, down Sochi way, beautiful, everywhere across Russia is beautiful. But people, I've got to say, the Russian people are amazing. What is your monthly budget approximately? Thank you so much. We want to move there. Right, so we own our house, so we haven't got a mortgage or anything. So our budget really is for food, and that really is down to the individual. You can't really put a price on it. You know, it's difficult. I actually did a live stream with Alex Mashkin, and Alex very I won't say very cleverly, but that's the crap use of the English language. I can't think of the word, but Alex basically spent a lot of time putting together a spreadsheet kind of thing, which if you join my Telegram group, it's pinned on there. Or if you email me, I will forward it to you, and that gives an idea of monthly costs, cost of living. But we did a live stream where we spoke about it, from car insurance to car tax to land tax to food, based on, you know, 2 people living in, that kind of thing. So if you want that, or better still, go and watch that live stream with Alex Mashkin, and we cover all of that. So it will help you more than me telling you, because my budget will be completely different to yours or anybody else's. But the live stream we did, it was more specific and more useful, to be fair. NATO is going to turn its back on their so-called ally. Not sure, Furby. Let me know. Thank you for spitting out the truth. That's all I'm interested in. Whether it's good, bad or indifferent, that's up to people to, you know, make their own mind up about. But all I ever want to do is tell the truth, really, and say what I see and how I see it. You know, people may not like it. That's fine. You're allowed to not like stuff. You shouldn't have to like it. Same with my channel. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like my content. There's no rules there. But it is what it is. It's the truth, and if you like it, great. If you don't, you don't. You might not like all. Most people won't like all of my content, but hopefully there's stuff there that you will like. But the idea is to show you the truth. The propaganda from the West that the military operation is unprotected is make history falls. This is crimes east of Ukraine is already going on. 2014. Yeah, I mean, the war in Ukraine started well before 2014. If you go back to the political aspect of it, it was well before then. But most people think it started in 2022. And the Western media have done a very good job of convincing people of that. They like to rewrite history, don't they? How did you get your money there? So we moved our money here before sanctions. Although Russia has been under sanctions for many years, but before the current batch of sanctions, i.e. when the SMO started. So it was a simple case of transferring it from bank. It was easy. I live in Germany and the amount of lies about Russia in German television is outrageous. Yes, the thing is, to British people, they don't know it's lies, because it comes from the BBC and it comes from the government, and it's, so therefore it must be true. They wouldn't lie to you, would they? Until you come outside of Britain and look back in and go, what a bunch of lies, because I'm here. I'm living in Russia. I'm living in a war zone, according to Western media. I'm dodging missiles all the time. The Sea of Azov is a conflict zone. I was there a couple of months ago on the beach. So, but I learnt this a long, long time ago with media. It is all about control, and mainstream media is not something that anybody should take any notice of. You should rely on things like YouTube, and I know people are going to go, what? But look at the opportunity that you have with YouTube to go and find different aspects and look up stuff. And even YouTube, has its censorship, of course. But that's just one example. But mainstream media isn't giving you that opportunity. It's telling you a story. It's telling you one thing. It's not showing you lots of different things for you to be able to make your own mind up. It's telling you what the truth is, and that's not true. Millions ethnic Russians homeless. Back then, yes. Now, no. War crimes of Ukraine military. Supported and trained by... Well, Canada, I think, prior to SMO, Canada had was it the largest or the second largest Ukrainian population outside of Ukraine? But I'm not going to get political about the SMO. By the way, has Russian straightforwardness started influencing your personality? No, I much prefer straightforward answers. I like direct. I don't like people that will say something to your face that will be different behind your back, and what they say behind your back they wouldn't admit to your face. I will say something behind somebody's back. I'm no different than anybody else on the planet. But if that person comes up and says, oh, I've been told you said this, I'll be saying, yeah, I did. I'll stand by what I say. And if that offends, it offends, but I'll stand by what I say. I have my opinions, of course, everybody does. But I will stand by what I say, one way or another. I'm not one of these people that will say something about somebody behind their back and then go, oh, no, I didn't say that. Oh, no, I never said that. If somebody takes what I say out of context, I will put it back into context and say, yes, I did say that. However, this is the context that it was in. I might do that, but I will never just say, oh, I never said that. And I can't stand people that do that. I've got no time for anybody that does that. Spineless. Skynet, appreciate the information. You seem pretty interested and open-minded. I would like to learn more about living in Russia. So you've earned yourself a sub. Thank you. Join my Telegram group, is what I say to you. The Plastic Russian on Telegram. Join the chat. So if you join the channel, if you subscribe to the channel, then click on discuss. Then there's a separate group for chat. You'll get so much information out of that. You can ask a question anytime, 24/7. And it'll either be me or a host of other people that will give you the answer. The chat group there's a lot of clever people in there and a lot of knowledgeable people in there as well. So I'm very proud of that chat group. It's not a big group, but the people that are in it are very clever and they're very clued up. So, yeah, join that. And if you want to learn about Russia, you will learn a lot from that group. Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen, Paul. Is it Morgen? Liebe Gruß aus Berlin. Liebe Gruß aus Berlin. Love, big love from Berlin, I think. UK und Deutschland. I think that is. Yeah, my dad lived in Germany. Yeah, you know, when I was a kid. My German was all right. It's absolutely shocking because I haven't used it for 100 million years. Liebe Gruß aus Berlin. Yes, I think that's big love from Berlin. Thank you. I'm Egyptian living in Germany, so I absolutely know it's a bunch of lies and they tell about me. It is, yeah, and that was the biggest shock for me, coming to Russia. And just, I was angry because I realised that I'd been lied to my whole life. And that was the thing, you know. As I've said many times, my first week in Russia was just very disorientating and very bewildering. I couldn't understand. My brain couldn't compute what my eyes were seeing. Because it just, you know, well, this isn't right, this isn't right. You know, this can't be right. That's how my brain was working for the first week. And then I started to understand, you know, and then I wanted to learn and understand. And the third week I didn't want to come home. And since then, all I've done is realised how much lies are told about the people of this country and this country. And from other nations, not just the UK, but from other nations as well. I've seen other nations, I've seen people from other nations, you know, and mostly from people that have never been to Russia or were in Russia 30 years ago and think they know Russia. No, you don't, you haven't got a clue. But also just a lot of hate. And it just pains me, it really does. And that's the reason for my channel. It's the lies and the deceit. I noticed that Westerners like to put people into groups and judge them. Yeah. I once argued with an African American who told me I owe them because my skin is white, even when I told them that Russia didn't own. Yeah. There's a lot of that nonsense, isn't there? I've got no time for all of this repatriation crap. You know, you should pay somebody some money because of what happened to their ancestors 100 years ago. Well, yeah, but that person might have robbed a bank this morning or stabbed somebody last night, so why should they be given any money based on what their ancestors did 100 years ago? Or what about their ancestors that did bad things 100 years ago? Should they now be paying for that? Yeah, it's all crap, isn't it? You should be responsible for yourself, your immediate family and your own actions. What your ancestors did is something that you learn from. That's history. Well, hello, Matt. Now, people, start sending Matt messages if you can, telling him to start his YouTube channel, because he lives in Kazan, where the Brics summit is at the moment, and he keeps talking about doing a YouTube channel, although recently he hasn't, but he was, and he hasn't done it. So Matt is a Brit living in Russia. I'm going to spill your news now, Matt. Matt is a Brit living in Russia, been living here a long time, and he's a teacher as well. He's an English teacher in Russia. So he needs to start his YouTube channel. We'll do so. Enjoy the rest of your day. Skynet, thank you. Enjoy yours as well. Thank you for coming in. Actually, as an Egyptian living in Germany, I discovered that I'm more educated about world history and politics more than any German friend I know. Yeah, and that is another big eye-opener coming here to Russia. Russians know about world affairs. They are vastly more educated. And that's a real shock. They understand about lots of different countries. And not all Russians, I can't say all Russians, can I? But I can tell you that my experience has shown me that people are far more informed and are far more interested in world events. And certainly Russians as a whole are much more educated about global affairs, global finance, global economies than anything in the West. You know, we're just programmed, you know, like I say, we're programmed. Blinkers on, this is what you must believe. How much for a few acres of... No, Peter, no idea. Wouldn't be able to answer that. One, I wouldn't know how big an acre is because it's measured differently out here. Two, it's region specific, then it's district specific, then it's town specific, then it's development specific. No idea. No idea. You'd have to be much more specific. If you said to me, how much is 600 metres of land next door, I could answer that question. But that isn't, you know, it is. And there are different levels of land as well. You're talking about farmland. You're talking about land that can't be used for industry or can't be used for housing. Or, you know, there's so many variations. I'm not the person to answer that question, I'm afraid, mate. Hope you understand how. Oh, there you go. One has to take into consideration to give that answer. Yeah, that's the problem. Please come with specific questions. I'll give specific answers. Repatriation. Go chat to the Ethiopians who barely gave them humane. Sorry. I'm Matt. I'm too busy. Yeah, I can tell you're on here watching me. You could be making a video. When will World War finally break out? I think it already has, isn't it? I mean, what do you class as a world war? Every single country in the world fighting? I don't know. I think the West is having a good go at that, aren't they? How many countries are Russia currently fighting? And I mean, you know, obviously, the brainwashed people are going to go, duh, one, oh, it's next door. But the real people that actually understand what's going on will know that it's, was it 32 or 52 or however many countries? Yeah. Privyat. Vlad. Hi, Vlad. They are teaching my daughter their lives, and when I discussed it with her history teacher, she said to me, in front of all the other parents, we are teaching them history according to German perspective. Yeah, I mean, I kind of understand that, because history is going to be from the country you're in. It's going to be tainted from their perspective, but facts are facts. So you can't alter facts, and that's what the West is doing. They are, you know, rewriting history and deleting history, and yeah, that's the wrong thing. You know, you shouldn't alter facts. You can have a version, you can have your opinion, but you shouldn't alter facts. All Russians understand that they need to take the land from Ukrainians with help of war. I'm not entirely sure what that means. It can be taken two different ways because of the way you've formed the sentence grammatically. All Russians understand that they need to take the land from with help of war, ? So, yeah, it's not grammatically correct, so I'm not sure how to take that sentence. Is it safer there than, say, the US? Never been to the US. Always wanted to go to the US. Friends of mine went to the US many times. A friend of mine was in Chicago within the last year, said he'll never go again, and he was going every year. He said he'll never go again. All I know is obviously what I see when I go researching on the internet and speaking to friends, and it's, you know, it is what it is. So I can't really comment, is it safer than the US? I can tell you that I believe it is. I can tell you that Russia is the safest country I have ever been in, and I have been all across Europe, you know, from as far south, I suppose, as Sicily, and most European countries, Switzerland, Austria, France, Belgium, Germany, Holland. So I've been all around, and obviously lived in the UK, and I can tell you categorically that since I've been in Russia, I haven't seen one incident of violence at all. Not one. Where it's a daily occurrence in the UK, I don't see any road rage. I don't see punch-ups in the streets. I don't even see two people shouting at each other. So, you know, yes, do I live a sheltered life? Well, I guess I do. I don't work here, so I'm probably not that involved, but I go out most days and we drive about and we go for walks in all sorts of places. And for me, yes, this country is far safer than any other country I've ever visited. Well, if the whole Western world is against us, we have to know any reasons that it may use to incite other countries against us. Shishme is a place in Ethiopians where Rastafarians claim to repatriate to, but obviously the locals have something to say about that. Yeah, well, yeah. There's just too much of this. Everybody thinks that the world owes them a living. Just get off your arse and earn your own living, whatever that is. But stop trying to blame other people. That, you know, we're all turning into narcissists. Nothing's our fault and it's always somebody else's fault. Nobody will take responsibility for anything. Sue, they are now teaching Ukraine refugees new altered history in Poland. They've been doing that for a long time. They've been teaching in Ukraine for a long time, altered history. And Poland is very, very much guilty of that as well. I met some Polish people in the UK and their hatred towards Russia was, you know, I mean, I'm talking about a dentist and a hygienist that were Polish. And they didn't know about my Russian connection, my wife or anything like that, but we got onto a subject, I can't remember how, but straight away it was, oh, Russians are evil, horrible people, Russians are this and Russians that, and not to be trusted and blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, okay, right. When were you last in Russia? Oh, I've never been there. I would never go to such a place and blah, blah. Fuck off, you absolute moron. Got no time for people like that. Comment on what you know, not on what some idiot has told you. But that, unfortunately, is a level of Russophobia that exists. More than 1 million people have already died, and what good is that? Lives go nowhere, unlike the World War. Yeah, I agree. For what? People have died for politicians' wet dreams. None of the politicians would ever put a hat on and get in a trench, would they? Because they're all gutless, spineless. But that's soldiers. Soldiers are soldiers. Their job is to go to war and die. That's what a soldier is. You know, they're not a politician. Soldiers fight politicians' wars. The problem we have is that our politicians are corrupt and our politicians are evil and they have their own self-interest at heart. Politicians in the West do not care about their country. They care about themselves. And that is the problem. So they are quite happy to send people to go and die to further their own richness, their own corruption. It's got nothing to do with their country. None of these politicians care about their country. And that is the problem we have in the West. The president of this country cares about this country. And that's evident if you just open your eyes. That's absolutely evident. And yeah, that's the problem that the West has. They don't have anybody in the political leadership that cares about the country. So if they don't care about the country, they don't care about you. They care about padding out their own bank account. Hi there, I am Lithuanian in the UK and feel often criticised for being an immigrant and asked when I am going back to... Really? Do you ever feel that in Russia? By the way, would love to visit one day. No, I don't. Simple answer. I have never, ever felt like that. I did feel like that from my own part. You know, I felt embarrassed and ashamed to come here because of what my government is doing. And I have never been made to feel like that by any Russian. Quite the opposite, in fact. Quite the opposite. You know, even going into a local pub or something, they're more interested, you know. And in my village, you're English? Wow, you know, first question is, wow, what do you think of Russia? It's the first question. So no, I've never felt like that. I'm not an English, I don't understand very good English grammatics, but yeah, sure know that Russian war in Ukraine is not fair. But why shouldn't it? Yeah, not fair. Yeah. unfortunately, I think to make a statement like that, you need to understand about the situation and not what you're told, not what's ran down your throat as fact. You need to go and research. Then you won't make a statement like that. Ukraine is under Western propaganda since the 90s, their first Orange Revolution, 2004 is first. Yeah. I've been treated in Germany like royalty. Yeah. What about Putin? Would he jump in a trench and fight? Well, that's the thing with Vladimir Putin. He's worked up through the ranks, hasn't he? So he comes from a military background, or certainly from the KGB era. As for hand-to-hand, yeah, he's a black belt in judo. So would he fight? Yeah. Does he fight for his country? Yeah, absolutely he does. But at the age of 72, is he jumping in a trench? No, probably not. But it's a valid point. I get the point that you're trying to make. I think the point I was trying to make is that our politicians in the West are spineless. They're gutless. There's no substance to them. None of them have got any background. They are all just career politicians trying to line their own pockets. You know, they know that they're in power for a certain period of time and that their aim is to earn as much money as they can in that period of time, not look after the people of the country. So that was the point I was trying to make. But I get your point, Toby. Sean, I've read some US magazine back in 96, 97, which had articles inside it regarding splitting Russia in... Yeah, absolutely, in smaller states. Yeah, it's been an aim for decades. The West has always wanted to break up Russia because it's, you know, it's resource rich, and they don't like the fact that it's a big country. Unfortunately, when you have playground bully, that bully relies on being able to bully everybody. It's a kind of obvious statement. But when everybody gets bigger and older, what happens to that bully? Do you remember a school bully? Would you still be scared of him now? Because I remember the school bully. I punched him in the face. So, yeah, you know, every school bully turns into a nobody, into a nothing, into an of no value person. And that is what's happening in the world. The bully is now getting a nosebleed because the bully is now the bullied. If they have a car accident and it's their fault, the German driver's insurance has to be charged. Yeah, blimey. Pays for all damages caused in both cars. What's the best way to get... Oh dear, I've got some right clowns here, haven't I? Let's deal with these morons. That's the start. That's that one gone. Mr. London feels like you're kind of a traitor. Do you want to have that conversation with me? Join my Telegram group. I'm happy to have that conversation with you. Answer no, he's a coward. Okay, so Toby, it's taken you 2 messages to work out that you're a brain dead idiot. So goodbye. Will Rishi Sunak and his wife fight in Iran for Israel? No. Yeah, Mr. London feels like you're kind of a traitor. I'd love to debate that with you. Happy to debate that with you. How about that? You can explain to me exactly what you mean. So please join my Telegram group. Put a message on there and I'll privately message you. We can have a phone conversation if you want. More than happy to do that. And you can explain to me why I'm a traitor. Or why you think I'm a traitor. I'm sure there are politicians that care, but there's probably some powerful hand and tied either way. Yeah, the NPCs have shown up. Yeah, no, I've got no time for people that just want to come on and spout rubbish. Oh, go away. Got no time for you. You're just a moron. If you actually If all you're going to do is repeat what the BBC or CNN says, then why bother? No point in coming on here or talking to me. I'm not interested. You know, you're just another moron that's going to get added to the block list. So, you know, you've had your 5 seconds of fame and maybe you think you've scored some kind of point. I don't know. It hasn't affected my life in any way, shape or form. It just means that I've interrupted what I'm saying just to delete you. Have a conversation. Grow some bollocks. Have a spine. Have a conversation based on facts, not on nonsense and rubbish because you watch the news and you think you know it all. When's the last time you were in Russia? When's the last time you were in the Ukraine? Right. If the answer is I haven't been, or 20 years ago, then jog on. Yeah, repeat what it programmed to say, absolutely. Bro traded England for something possibly worse. Did he now? Bro traded England for something possibly worse. Okay, well, bro ain't a bro, fam. And I haven't traded England at all. I love my country. And I can assure you that it is not possibly worse here. I can assure you of that. 100% fact that everything here is better. Everything about my life here is better than it was in the UK. Everything. Healthcare, quality of food, people, climate. Tip of the iceberg. Everything. Privyat. I love how Toby imposed upon someone expectation that he knows politicians from West, in this case, wouldn't do. I'm old, I don't have the patience that I used to have. Tidzin Nadaba, very well, thank you. Kagdila, thank you. Very well. I have to go, you have a lovely day, sir. Sue, thank you, it's been a pleasure. Hopper, liked your live stream, but I have to go. Is which you say, good day in Krasnodar region with your life. Thank you. Thank you, Hopper. It's been a pleasure. Have a wonderful day. You like that old school? I don't like any monarchy, to be honest. Why do you live in Russia? Because it's better than the country that I was living in. Because I fell in love with Russia. Because I came here in October 2021, had my world turned upside down, realised that everything I'd been told about Russia all my life was absolute lies and fabrication, and had an epiphany, woke up and just went, oh my God, this place is nothing like you're told it is. Simple. If you've never been to Russia and you're going to come on here and say Russia's this and Russia's that, how can you say that if you've never been? Because you've watched something on TV. Get a brain. Paka. That I can't read. And Hopper Spasibo, yeah, better than England. You wanna live in England? Okay. Yeah, good luck to you. Good luck to you. England is a beautiful country to visit as a tourist. You will have a whale of a time. You'll do the tourist things and think it's amazing. Most people think that England is all castles and everybody lives in a castle. No, they don't. But to live in that country now is very difficult. The cost of living is absolutely outrageous. The taxation is beyond ridiculous. The streets are filthy. The homelessness is absolutely out of control. The crime is out of control. I could go on and on and on. But if you want to live in England, good luck to you. Really lovely to know that Russians are welcoming. They are indeed. Unrelated, perhaps worrying in the UK. Are there any concerns for Russia, invasion in Russia, and have you? No, none. No. Simple is the easiest answer. Kapukas, no, none. Alford's Russian adventure. Seeing chat is another reason I have not started. Yeah, but it's great because as soon as you get a moron, you just delete them. Block, delete, block, delete. You know, they're going to lead very sad lives, aren't they, morons? They're of no value. You know, they're either brain deads with no brain, not capable of critical thought, or they're very lonely with no friends. So, sorry for the frequent question. How do you like life in Russia in general, more good or bad? I love Russia here. Absolutely love my life here. Absolutely love my life here. In general, absolutely good. I don't like the price of cars. That's my bugbear. Price of second-hand cars are expensive. I want to work as a veterinarian. Do they tolerate African veterinarians? So you were saying you want to move to the UK. So is that a question relating to the UK or to Russia? I would say yes to both. Nicolette, hi Russian Chris. Hi, nice to see you. I saw you in Marco's chat. Was it yesterday? I think we were in there. No, I haven't been to Yakutsk, and yes, it is that cold. And Don O'Nonny keeps retracting the message, so I don't know what he's saying. I want to marry an Englishman. I hope they like black girls. You're on the wrong channel. I'm sure there's a channel that will help you for that. Prices for second-hand cars in the UK went up as well. Yeah, it did. Yeah, absolutely it did. Yeah. But, for example, my Range Rover in the UK was about 70 grand, £70,000. The equivalent in Russia would have been £140,000. So, second-hand cars. To the UK, yeah, probably. Thank you for your honesty. I hope you will be fine. Good luck and health. My pleasure. Thank you. Yeah, vet in the UK. Yeah. Yes, probably a well-paid. Well, it is a pretty well-paid job. Depends on where you live. Been living in Chatham. Yeah. Later in London, Bethnal Green. Yeah. But life there is interesting anyway. Meeting new friends, nice mates. Yeah, absolutely. As I said, I didn't fall out of love with England. I still love England. But I fell in love with Russia. And I just find that my life here in Russia is far better than anything that I could have in the UK. In every aspect, as I say. Healthcare, that's the biggest thing for me. Well, not the biggest, but certainly one of them. The level of healthcare I've received here in Russia has far exceeded anything that I was getting in the UK. Watch some of my videos about healthcare, you'll understand why. But briefly, my choice of healthcare in the UK, I had a problem with my neck. I had surgery on my neck to remove whatever. My choice when I left the UK was more surgery. There wasn't any other choice. You know, and after 2 years of planning and scans and God knows what else, it was a case of whether they were going to do one surgery or two, and that's literally the point that I was at. I came here, I've not had surgery, I've had treatment instead, and I've had my eyes open to the healthcare, and I'm in better health now than I was in the UK. So, that's just one example. You want to talk about the food? GMO is banned in Russia. Why is that? So the quality of the food here is far superior. The fresh food, you know, the bread goes mouldy after a few days. So you buy fresh bread because it doesn't last. Why does it last in the UK? Because it's genetically modified. It's meant to last. You know, all of that kind of stuff. Like I say, the climate, a million and one things. You know, I just love about this country. I love the people in this country. Yes, was with Marco. Yeah. What do I mean? You're on the wrong channel. Well, if you're looking to date an Englishman, there's probably an English site or a site that you can look at. This isn't it. I'm happily married, and I wouldn't know where to look for that sort of thing. Russia does have beautiful women. It does indeed. Indeed. It absolutely does. I spend 5k a year on petrol for my fare. No way. The car in Russia will cost 50k, but here it's 20k. Wow, yeah, see, that's another thing. Fuel price. There's an awful lot of V8s in Russia. Longer lasting bread, no wonder there is so much cancer. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Yeah, there's another example. Fuel prices. It's just, like I say, the life that I have here is far better, greatly exceeds anything that I could have afforded in the UK. And by afforded, I mean had, not paid for. Does that make sense? Forget the afforded bit. Far better than I could have had in the UK. Chris, very interesting. Thank you, Nicoletta. Yeah, have a watch. You know, it's just me talking, but it's a cloudy, overcast day here today. Would anybody like to go for a wander? Should we go for a quick walk? Let me turn you around. Right. I'm going to struggle to read your comments while I'm walking, but I'll have a go. What's it like for skilled jobs and salaries? Right, so with next to zero unemployment, there is ample opportunity for jobs, certainly skilled jobs. Salaries are completely different to the West, but so is the cost of living, so you can't really compare it in that regard. But what I would say is if you are skilled, you will earn freaking good money out here and have a freaking good lifestyle. Yeah. So there's the poor old swimming pool with its winter coat on, because it's cold now. The sauna is in there. Should be going in that tonight. Just had the window installed and mucked about with, so I've got a lot of work on that. The garden is a work in progress. Going to get a bit of wind noise now as well, guys, as I haven't got my external mic on, so apologies for that. Look at the state of my poor garage. It's an absolute mess. Won't be parking the car in there for a while. Good thing you're an old non-native white man, or else you'd be sent to the trenches. Is that so? Really? Dear, oh dear, oh dear. See, that just shows the level of ignorance, doesn't it? Oh, that's chucked out flowers all of a sudden. Yeah, sorry, mate. Ian, is it Ian Polaris? What an ignorant statement. That just shows that you watch too much news in the West. Chris, why all this misinformation about Russia? Misinformation about Russia, Nicolette, what do you mean that I'm saying, or why is there so much misinformation? I'm not saying anything, if that's what you mean. I'm not saying anything about Russia that I can't back up with my own comments or my own views, based on my own experience. That's all I do. I just say what I see and show what I see. If you're talking about the Western narrative, well, how far back do you want to go? This has been going on for decades. Look at Hollywood. Pick any Hollywood action film. Here's just a silly example, but pick any Hollywood action film, and how long into that film before the Russians are the gangsters or the bad guys or the losers. Just have a look next time you're watching any Hollywood action movies, because that's, and you know how many countries are in the world, but it's always the Russians, isn't it? It's always Russian gangsters. Always. Why is that? Because it's part of the brainwashing to make you believe that Russians are gangsters. It's all part of the brainwashing. That's just one example. You have a pretty house. Thank you. It's bloody cold. Whoa. Been in London, back again last year. Life getting more expensive, but still nice to walk around in London. Yeah, I like London. There are places in London I like. A couple of restaurants and stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Oasis. That'd be kind of cool. Got a bag. Bit of rubbish. Old cherry tree. End of season. Peach tree. Fig tree, plum tree, which I butchered, absolutely cut it to bits, and it's carried on growing again. Everything grows out here. Miss Tesco hams. I miss Marmite. That's what I miss. With the UK, it goes back centuries. Yeah, it does, yeah. Chris, you are giving a very different view. I'm just giving the truth, Nicoletta, that's all I'm doing. I couldn't afford this house in the UK. The equivalent of this house where I lived in the UK would be £1 million. Out here, it's about £200,000, so about a fifth of the price. So that's just one example. It's still a work in progress. We're still building, we're still doing stuff. In fact, we've only recently removed the outside tap that was there, so that's still in progress. We're having a shower put in here, outside shower, so we'll have 5 showers in this house by then. As you can see, there's still work being done. The roof terraces. Whoa, God, it is cold. And quick. So this is all the tiling that's just being done. Our sauna is in through there, and our shower room is being worked on at the moment. But that will come in a later video. To be fair, the same goes for Russian movies. Lovely house, so much space, not like us cramped in the UK. Yeah, I think we've got nearly 800 square metres, but it's not big, not by Russian standards. Furby, you know me and Marmite. Sorry if it's been asked, when did you move here? Last May. Actually moved. I think it was last May. What year are we in? 24. Yes. Last May? Yes. Last May? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, you get the idea. Days turn into weeks and months out here, and I lose all track of time. But there we go. So that's a quick wander around the house. It's our junk corner over there. It's a right mess at the moment because the garage is carnage and everything's a bit of a mess. But yeah, have a look at some of my videos. You'll see the house in various stages of repair and build. There's a sauna. Can't see a lot because of the reflection, but yeah, video coming of that soon. I have no reason not to believe you. Thank you, Nicolette. Yeah, oh, you know, I'm just saying what I see. Saying what I see. Anyhow, let me spin you guys round. I'm going to call it a day now, so because I'm freezing, basically. So thanks for joining me. Please join the Telegram group if you've got any questions, if you want to know about moving to Russia. You know, if you want to have a chat, where do you start? What's your first steps? If you want to talk rubbish, don't bother. I'm not interested. But certainly, if you want to talk about coming to Russia, or if you've got any questions about somebody that's living in Russia, join my Telegram group, ask me there, or send me an email. If you send me an email with 20 questions, I'll reply with, please join my Telegram group so I can chat with you, because I'm a one-finger typist. So that's the easiest way to communicate, is on Telegram. It's a lot simpler. So, yeah, like I say, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe some of the videos on my channel. Have a look if there's something there that might interest you. In the meantime, as I always say, just going to catch up with that comment. What does that say? I bought a house in Russia as well 7 or 8 years ago, 50 kilometres from Peskov, 5 to 7 times a year, going there by visa, no problems to get a visa from you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a process, you just got to go through it, that's all. Anyhow, guys, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.